Alabama is dropping out of the new Congressional District 2 race. Wallace Gilberry said he received overwhelming support from the community for entering into that race a few months ago as a Republican. Gilberry says that over the Christmas break, he determined that he's not a politician and now is not the right time to enter a political race. Gilberry says he will look for other ways to help the people of the community and to fight out-of-touch liberals with too many bad policies that are hurting people and making their lives tougher every day. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
The Autauga County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in finding two missing women. 78-year-old Patricia Dennis and her 59-year-old daughter, Teresa Lynn Fisher, went missing over the weekend. Police say the two left to go to a store in Deatsville and never returned home. The Fishers drive a blue 2014 Toyota Avalon. Police say both women may have conditions that impair their judgment. A child custody exchange in Daphne turns into a shooting that lands a Fairhope man behind bars. 38-year-old Burak Dudzik shot into a vehicle after the biological children of his girlfriend were dropped off in a Sam's Club parking lot on Saturday. Apparently, a heated exchange of words occurred between the mother of the children and the biological father and his girlfriend. That's when Dudzik pulled a pistol and fired as the other two were leaving. Fortunately, no one was injured. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Sky Mosley for your hometown conservative newspaper, the Alabama Gazette. Published in beautiful downtown Montgomery, serving the river region and central Alabama proper for over 24 years, always under the banner of God, family, and country. You can find the Gazette at many fine business establishments throughout the area and an excellent value for your advertising dollar. The Gazette provides you with a ready-made audience that shares your values, beliefs, and principles. Give them a call, 356-6700. Advertising with the Alabama Gazette is surprisingly affordable and extremely effective. 356-6700, the Alabama Gazette. Honest, informative, trustworthy, your conservative alternative newspaper. Real local news from real local people. The Alabama Gazette, they are most worthy of your support. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. 356-6700, give them a call. The Alabama Gazette, the people's paper.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Shut up, silly woman.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
This afternoon, we've seen a whole lot of table banging.
I got hairy legs.
I got worms.
Conduct yourself in a democracy.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And as is tradition, folks, always great to kick off the show this way with this gentleman. We have Judge Andrew Napolitano joining us on the show. How you doing today, Judge?
Great, Joey, my dear friend. We have a foot of snow up here in northwest New Jersey, a foot. and it's coming down like mad right now. It's supposed to turn to rain, but right now it's winter wonderland.
And it's the type of snow I imagine that sticks, that stays.
Oh God, it's heavy, it's wet, it's raw, it's cold. I just had Chris the dog outside, and neither of us we both couldn't wait to come back in.
It hit the entire nation. We got some nasty. It rained for 12 hours. There's actually flooding in my neighborhood. No snow, thank God. But yeah, it affecting the entire nation. But it looks like you're in one piece, and even Chris seems to survive. He's quiet right now. So
He's sound asleep at my feet.
So there's so many places to begin, but I want to begin with, we don't do this together often, with a clip. This is an audio clip of the oral arguments that were happening this morning, I believe, in front of a D.C. Circuit Court between Donald Trump's attorneys and the 3-judge panel there. This is the one that's making headlines. Let's just give the audience a little flavor of it, Judge.
But your position is that he can't be prosecuted for that unless he's impeached.
Yeah, that was as long as it's an official act. I mean, in certain cases, purely private conduct under Clinton against Jones, he'd be subject to prosecution for that as long as he's not in office. But as long as it's an official act.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if he weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is
no. My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate. In these exceptional cases, as the OLC memo itself points out from the Department of Justice, you'd expect a speedy impeachment and conviction. But what the founders were much more worried about than using criminal prosecution to discipline presidents was what James Madison calls in Federalist Number 47, the newfangled and artificial treasons. They were much more concerned about the abuse of the criminal process for political purposes to disable the presidency from factions and political opponents. And of course, that's exactly what we see in this case.
I've asked you as
well. I'm going to stop it there, but that's just 2 minutes or a minute and a half of that doesn't do the entire back and forth justice necessarily. But that's what's making headlines from what's come out this morning and what you just heard there, Judge. What do you think of this back and forth?
I think it was a colossal blunder on the part of Trump's lawyers to make an argument so extreme, so absurd, so not historically based. This is the problem, and I'm going to say this from my having had experience with him. This is the problem with lawyers trying to represent someone like Donald Trump. He tells you what he wants you to say, and you do what he wants because he's paying your bill and he is the client, even though it's not always in his best interest, making the most extreme argument available in the hopes that they would be somewhere short of that and come down on his side doesn't always work. And it rarely works in an appellate court, which is an academic argument, because they'll not only see right through it, they'll be terribly frustrated by your unwillingness to give a straight answer. To suggest that a president could only be prosecuted for a crime committed in office if he had been impeached and convicted effectively immunizes him, because impeachment is limited to treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors, of which murder is not one.
Man. And
so this argument that he made this morning, John Sauer made this morning, which the court did not like, because he wasn't being candid with them, basically would have allowed the president to order SEAL Team 6 to kill a political opponent. They could be prosecuted for murder, but the president couldn't even after he leaves office. That's absurd.
That is absurd. Now, could, say, Barack Obama or George W. Bush be arrested for illegal, unconstitutional dronings of people, including, I think in one case with Obama, an American citizen?
In my opinion, yes.
Right.
In my opinion, yes. They both committed acts of murder. Bush, in my opinion, committed war crimes by bringing us to war under false pretenses. There's no statute of limitations for war crimes, and there's no statute of limitations for capital murder, for first-degree murder, planned, plotted murder.
Well, and I've joked about it. Wouldn't make me cry. I think the way we could unify the nation is we put Biden and Trump and Gitmo together in a nice room. We're not torturing anybody. They can play soccer together or something.
I've been there. There are no nice rooms.
Fair enough. And so,
but look, this is very important. I'm glad you started with this. I was going to, far be it from me to tell you how to start your show, but I was saying to myself, I hope he starts with this. Because while this oral argument was going, there was somebody in the second row sitting there glowering over all of it. It was Donald Trump himself.
Right.
Attending this oral argument, at times shaking his head no, at times shaking his head yes, at times writing notes with a Sharpie, which he loves to use, and giving it to his lawyers. I mean, I don't blame him for attending. It's not going to affect the outcome. It just makes it a little bit more of media interest. Because he was there, they limited the media access to the courtroom, and they ran a television tape into a side room where the media was physically present, as if they had been in the courtroom.
No, that sounds like Trump. That sounds like his temperament. A quick fun thing, then back to the serious legal cases, because you know Donald Trump. You've known him for a long time, as we've established in our conversations. There's been this back and forth right now on the X platform between Elon Musk and Mark Cuban over DEI. And so now people are just getting into silly season. But somebody put out, I think Jack Posobiec put this out, that it's an old letter Donald Trump sent to Mark Cuban after Mark Cuban's show The Benefactor failed, I think, after just one season. It's a very short note. I want to read it real quick, Judge. Dear Mark, I'm truly sorry to hear that your show has been canceled for lack of ratings. When I initially called you to congratulate you on The Benefactor, little did you or I realize how disastrous and embarrassing it would turn out to be for you. If you ever decide to do another show, please call me, and I'll be happy to lend a helping hand. Best wishes, sincerely, Donald John Trump. That sound like the man? Does it sound like Donald Trump wrote that?
Yes, it does. It does. It sounds like he dictated it directly. That is his style. Look, I spent a lot of time with him, most of it during his presidency, on the phone, and during the times he interviewed me twice for the Supreme Court, which was one before his presidency for the Scalia vacancy, and one during his presidency when Justice Kennedy resigned.
Well, and he seems like, me doing an impersonation. He's got
That's
many
a good
different
impersonation, by the way. Very good impersonation. Brett Baer does a great one. Yours is better.
Well, I'm working at it continually, but it's just interesting to see this personality. This guy who's so well known, and he doesn't budge no matter what seems to come his way, even when it seems to be really hurting him in court. Now, this case in the hearing this morning, that could potentially go to the Supreme Court, right? But I'd imagine the Supreme Court has also agreed to hear about the Colorado ballot 14th Amendment questions. How many cases are going to end up in front of the Supremes here?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, if you type in Nixon, you'll see a lot of cases before the Supreme Court. And if you type in Trump, you'll see a lot. The Colorado one, they really must hear because other states have gone the other way on it. So typically when there's a divergence in the circuits, like the Third Circuit, which is New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware, rules one way, and the Second Circuit, which is New York, rules exactly the other way on the same federal issue, the court has to resolve that. Same thing where the Supreme Court of Colorado rules one way and the Supreme Court of Minnesota rules exactly the opposite on the same federal issue. We are not talking about state Supreme Courts interpreting their own state laws or their own state constitutions. Supreme Court is, for the most part, immune from getting involved in that. Or I shouldn't say immune, that's the wrong word. It doesn't have the jurisdiction to get involved in that. But where these state courts of last resort, usually called Supreme Court, like in Alabama and in New Jersey, but not in every state, that different old names. When a state court of last resort rules on a federal issue, a clause of the federal Constitution differently than another state court of last resort, the Supreme Court has to get involved. I don't know if the Supreme Court will get involved on this immunity. They may very well allow the DC Circuit's opinion to have the final say and see what the outcome of the trial. Now, the reason I say that is this. The issue turns on whether whatever Trump did or failed to do on January 6th was an official duty of the president or was in furtherance of his own election campaign, his own vanity, his own ego, however you want to characterize that. That is a factual question. And factual questions are not resolved by judges. They're resolved by juries. So the DC Circuit may very well say, if it was not an official presidential behavior, there is no immunity, but we're instructing the trial judge to ask the jury to decide if after they hear testimony, after they hear Trump himself testify, after they hear Mark Meadows testify, and Rudy Giuliani and Ken Chesbro and Jenna Ellis and those others that have pleaded guilty, not Rudy, but the others, they'll decide whether whatever he did or failed to do was presidential. And that will determine whether or not immunity kicks in. The law is pretty clear. If it's not presidential, if he shoots somebody on Fifth Avenue or in the Oval Office, there is no immunity. If it is presidential, then there is immunity. That is pretty clearly the law. The oral argument this morning was, I think, because he's the former president. Otherwise, there would be no basis for this appeal. Judge Chutkin's ruling was very sound on the law. There is no law on Trump's side of this, which is why his lawyer made up that nonsensical and utterly self-destructive argument. I can't tell you how judges react when they hear this kind of extreme nonsense, pulling a rabbit out of a hat, that he can only be prosecuted for that for which he's been impeached and convicted.
Well, we'll see. This is going to be one of the main threads of 2024. I wish it wasn't. In fact, I wish it wasn't Biden against Trump, honestly. But before I let you go, another thread here. My guy, the guy I'm voting for in the primaries, Vivek Ramaswamy, tweeted out on January the 6th recently, over the weekend, Happy Entrapment Day. Then an interview came out with Tucker Carlson with a congressman named Clay Higgins from Louisiana. Higgins doesn't have all the detailed receipts and reports, but from his own investigation, he claims there were FBI agents dressed as Trump supporters in the Capitol, that he estimates there were something like 200 undercover FBI officers there that day. Do you think, we don't have all the facts of January 6th necessarily, but do you think it is implausible that the government would run, including the FBI, a massive entrapment sting, if you will? And do they have a history of this?
I don't think that's implausible at all. What is this congressman's name?
Clay Higgins.
If Congressman Higgins believes that he has this evidence, the House of Representatives should conduct an inquiry, not with congressmen asking questions, but with a serious, sophisticated cross-examiner asking questions. Congressmen don't know how to ask questions. If Chris Wray did that and lied about it, or if it happened under his watch and he didn't know about it, they need to go for his political jugular on national television, and they need to do so quickly. The FBI loves stings. This would be a massive, monumental, colossal stings. But one thing about their stings is when it comes time for prosecution, they own up to it. The person that pulled the trigger, so to speak, in the sting becomes the witness against the defendant. Now, there have been more than 100 of these trials. In none of them that I'm aware of has an FBI agent got on the stand saying, I was there as an undercover agent and I provoked this to see how far these people would go.
Well, I would like to know, because I learned from you personally about all the different, you've given me many examples over these years we've been working together, about, these entrapments from, young Muslim kids that, kind of have a bad past and they get roped into something, to the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case.
Yes, I was just thinking of the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case. Half of those guys got off on the defense of entrapment. The other half were retried and convicted. None of them should have been prosecuted at all. But, these are not decisions that at this point in my life I'm making.
Well, that's fair to say. So I got to let you go, but what's coming up on Judging Freedom this week? Your podcast?
Well, I have all my regulars back. I have Scott Ritter from Moscow. I have Colonel Doug McGregor. Today, my two ex-military, male and female, Matt Ho and Karen Kwiatkowski. Karen's examining the influence of debt on the national security. Did you know that Joe Biden signed an executive order ordering that all military equipment by the year 2036 be electric? Nobody knows that. She has a copy of this executive order. Hey, Chief, we're stuck in the mud here in Ukraine, and there's no electric chargers around. What do we do? I mean, this is crazy. The other thing we're examining very carefully, and this is going to be played out in a courtroom on Thursday, in Brussels, is the complaint by South Africa against Israel for genocide. I've read it. It is the most detailed, sound legal complaint I have ever seen. I can't even imagine what the Israeli defense will be. But the lawyer defending Israel is a lawyer, former general, former prime minister, Ehud Barak, with whom I've had some personal encounters, one of which I told you about. But I don't know what his defense is going to be, because the document is filled with footage of what the IDF did and with words out of the mouths of the Israeli war cabinet members.
Yeah, and didn't the Israeli ambassador, the initial response that this is blood libel, but it didn't have much actual detailed refutation of what was presented.
No. When they say things like that, that just puts them deeper down the rabbit hole that they're already in on the PR war. I mean, they have effectively lost the PR war. The only country in the world that stands with them is the United States, and old Joe is under a lot of pressure to distance himself.
Well, folks, y'all got to check out Judging Freedom, because what Judge just mentioned there is just scratching the surface of some of the great detailed interviews and insights. And I always watch on YouTube, but wherever podcasts are available, folks, Judging Freedom. And until next week, Judge, well, God bless. Appreciate you, sir.
All the best, my man. You'll like my column, which you're getting in about 2 hours, called Milk and the Police State, about an Amish farmer whose milk products were seized by the government.
Well, I will be looking forward to that. I did like the Nikki Haley Civil War one last week. Also very good.
War between the states.
Yeah, I can't help myself. I got to work on it.
I can't help myself either. We all went to public government grammar schools, and that's what they taught us.
Wait, I'm in the South. I was born and raised here. You're from the New Jersey. How are you more that way than me?
I don't know. Man, I don't know. All the best to you, Joey. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate you. Again, folks, that's Judge Andrew Napolitano. Always great having him on the program. This part of News and Views brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. They're ready to help you, especially when you're in a bind, when you have an emergency. So it could be a burst pipe inside or outside your home. Either way, you don't want flooding all throughout your yard. It'll make a huge mess. And you certainly don't want flooding within your house. So they understand there at Cole Plumbing, time is of the essence. They'll get there, they'll help you out, and the good news is they have this proprietary pipelining technology that allows them with minimal discomfort to you and your home to get in there and solve that problem without tearing out a bunch of drywall, dig up a huge hole or trench in your yard. With precision and expertise, I can get that job done. And of course, I can help you with all sorts of everyday plumbing issues, from a clogged drain to low water pressure, tree root invasion, maybe even have a gas line leak or that sump pump in the basement ain't working. Maybe you don't have a big issue, you just want to upgrade to, say, a tankless water heater system, or you'd like Cole Plumbing to install a brand new toilet for you, something of that nature. Cole Plumbing has your back. Again, that number, 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole. More News and Views, well, in the afternoon after this.
may not know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Well, have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. I run payroll too.
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, it's Lyle from Marguerite's. We all want to wish you a wonderful, happy new year, 2024. We're building all new, beautiful jewelry for you. Of course, we remake things. If you have anything sitting around, bring it in. Let's see what we can do with it. Marguerite's is full service. We have the best jewelers around. We have the best gift wrappers around. We have the best merchandise around. We have the best pricing around. We have the best quality around. But I'm not bragging. We're darn good, though. Come in and see us at Marguerite's. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to a great 2024.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 special. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This is Matt Woodham with Woodham Southside Firestone. As a businessman, you need to watch your advertising dollar. We've been using Blue Water Broadcasting for many years. Blue Water Broadcasting is the biggest bang for your buck. Blue Water Broadcasting and Woodham Southside Firestone, great combination.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From a little fender bender to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For over 35 years, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The effects of this big storm are certainly not done with us yet. As the risk of showers and storms start to shift out of the area, the very gusty winds continue, wind advisory in effect. Temperatures will start to fall. We'll be in the low 50s by, let's say, sunset. Colder tonight and still winds a factor. Overnight low in the low to mid-30s. Wednesday's a cold day. Sunshine returns with a high only in the low 50s. Winds will make it seem colder. Nice rebound on Thursday with a high in the lower 60s, mostly sunny. Then another big deal storm system with more rain and thunderstorms on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. We can't say thank you enough to every one of you who have made Capital Tractor one of the largest Kubota dealers in the U.S. It's because of you. We're honored, we're humbled, we're grateful. Kubota and Capital Tractor, Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now in 2024, there is going to be propaganda campaigns galore. I mean, that's pretty much what politics is, the sport of propaganda. And I'll tell you, folks, every presidential election cycle, it's tragic. Tragic to see so many ordinarily sane, lucid, everyday people succumb to the seductions of political propaganda, losing their wits in the process. It happens every 4 years. I've seen it now. I've seen it and I can't unsee it. So here's my advice, some lessons I've learned, but advice to the average bear as we enter this election year, especially those of you who don't normally pay attention to politics. Cherish your sanity. Cherish your sanity and your life outside of your political opinions. Try to enjoy Freak Show 2024 without taking it all in too seriously. So here are a few ways to help you detached. Lesson number 1 here, folks. What is seen and what is not seen? That's the core lesson of Henry Hazlitt's timeless Economics in One lesson. Hazlitt develops how this simple insight can be applied to understand many subtle aspects of economic life and government policy. And, similarly, the art of politics consists in seeing many chess moves ahead beyond the immediate, literal, or surface of the political scene. Seeing the unseen of politics is crucial to inoculating oneself against political propaganda and keeping one's wits when everyone else seems to have lost theirs. Now, lesson number 2. In politics, man must learn to rise above principle. We often say that here, right?
In politics, man must learn to rise above principle.
H.L. Mencken wrote that in 1940 in his essay, The Politician, wherein a politician running for president aims to, quote, save the country from all the stupendous frauds and false pretenses of his rival, only to find his, quote, blast of common sense got very little applause. Thus, he too starts making false promises to stay alive in the race. Politicians deserve a larger dose of skepticism than anyone, given their active quest for power, and they use manipulative techniques all the time to garner votes. Let's just put it straightforward. I'm sure they're good people. But if you wish to understand such political professionals, whether you're talking about the people actually with their name on the ballot or the strategists that help them run these races, if you want to understand such people, do not listen merely to the words they say, but rather look below the surface for the hard-boiled necessities they may face. If you were in their shoes, would you really behave any differently? Number 3, third lesson here. A truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. Apparently, that was George Orwell's favorite line of poetry from William Blake's Auguries of Innocence. To tell a truth with bad intent, as far as I'm concerned, is to be selective with the truth, bending the truth to fit one's own narrow interest. It is also to say something true about someone else while leaving the same truth about yourself unseen. The corporate press, who manage the national conversation, do this constantly and shamelessly. Though members of the prestige media rarely seek formal political power themselves, they nonetheless wield immense informal power over the populace and political process, thus deserving a potent dose of skepticism themselves. The media often tells the truth. The truth, when applicable, is the best propaganda, after all, but they often do so with bad intent. Their job isn't to tell the truth always and forever, the truth and nothing but the truth. Their job is to curate and control a national narrative that is, at best, only partially true. Like the political class, the media purposefully manipulate others for their own selfish ends. Framing the Overton window, they, the media, the corporate press, greatly limit the range of allowable opinions while encouraging rabid debate within those artificially constructed limits. Lesson number 4. People bind themselves into political teams that share moral narratives. Jonathan Haidt writes, in The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion. Haidt goes on, our moral thinking is much more like a politician searching for votes than a scientist searching for truth. Now, aside from the manipulative psychopaths of politics and media, those they manipulate should be also taken with a grain of salt. The political opinions of the average man are rarely of his own creation and are often left as unexamined as his back hair. Everyday folks who mean well are, sadly, some of the most susceptible to spreading the propaganda of their manipulators, unwittingly, as though infected by some unseen, highly transmissible mind virus. Lesson number 5. Nowadays, public opinion is more smoothly and easily ventriloquized, writes Christopher Hitchens in his letters to a young contrarian. Indeed, polls are often more a means of shaping public opinion than of accurately reporting public opinion. Hitchens continues, quote, "Thus to the consumer, the poll may seem like a mirror of existing opinion, but to the one who produces it, the poll is a swift photograph of the raw material to be worked upon. You may have noticed that popular opinion is not always and invariably cited by the elites, nor is it consistently tested. Who would pay? A properly sampled poll is quite an expensive business. Who would pay for such a thing? No, public opinion is not usually recycled until it has been treated. Only then are people informed whether or not their own opinion enjoys the certification of being the majority or approved one. Even general elections, which are supposed to involve voting in the active voice rather than the passive one, have been increasingly compromised by passive dress rehearsals. The polls condition the poll." Lesson number 6. Your vote is your voice. Your vote is your voice is one of the most insidious political cliches during elections. Your vote, if it means anything at all, is merely a negligible share in a political authority over which you have no practical control, nor any right not to consent to. Not voting, for instance, is still treated as consent. So vote as if your life depended on it, if that sort of thing turns you on, but never confuse your vote with your own unique God-given voice. I tremble to think there are people happy to see their voices boiled down to a ballot, their liberty reduced to mere ballast for yet another manipulative politician. Your vote doesn't guarantee your voice, it conscripts your voice without giving you a choice. Your vote only empowers you to the degree you're willing to deny your own voice and hitch a ride to some other guy's babble. More than any vote, the First Amendment remains the best legal guarantor of your voice. It recognizes that your voice isn't granted by the government nor the democratic hordes, but originates from nature, and nature's God. But folks, whenever any daft majority claims to be the collective master of your individual voice, just remember what Coriolanus said to the unruly mob who sought to force his exile. I banish you, and here remain with your uncertainty. Despising for you the city, thus I turn my back. There is a world elsewhere. And lesson number 7. The tyrant in you is the tyrant in me, is a line I have often repeated. Even the most righteous political campaign against tyranny runs the risk of becoming a movement fueled by resentment, hell-bent on destruction for destruction's sake. Indeed, if evil was only on the other side of the political divide, it would have been swept away from the earth long ago. Alas, evil is often found in the mirror. Empathy for another's worldview, even the supposed worst among us, is the only way to find light in the darkness of an otherwise blind march for political power and prestige. If you truly want to change someone's mind on a moral or political matter, you'll need to see things from that person's angle as well as your own, Jonathan Haidt writes. And if you do truly see it the other person's way, deeply and intuitively, you might even find your own mind opening in response. Empathy is an antidote to righteousness, although it's very difficult, especially during election year, to empathize across a moral divide. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That was actually my op-ed today for 1819 News. 7 lessons for detaching from political propaganda in 2024. Got some good feedback, but yet again, I am denied the trending headlines. I guess I'll have to read the one that's been the top story for a few days by Ashley Carter, to her credit. Taylor Swift is not the role model you want your daughter to emulate. Woo! Ooh, that's straight fire. No wonder it's so popular. We'll get to that in a second. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder. They're at Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, they can help you, well, pretty much in any aspect, anything you can think of when it comes to jewelry. Do you need it repaired? They can do that. Even a watch repair? Yeah, they can do that at Dillon Rings. Maybe you want to customize something. Get it like something actually just made out of whole cloth, like you had a dream. Well, if you can dream it, Josh Ryder can make it a reality. But they also do spa treatments, so cleanings. They can do appraisals. They really are a full-service jewelry shop. And, of course, they have this amazing selection of jewelry that can fit your price point. They have, of course, high-end pieces, even heirloom pieces. But they also have those everyday jewelry items that look great, but they don't break the bank. It's not the end of the world if you lose it while you're out hanging out on the beach or the lake or having fun one night out on the town. So y'all check out Dillon Rings today. Again, they are a full-service, full suite of jewelry options there at Dillon Rings. You can always go to DillonRings.com or give them a call at 215-3669. But I really encourage you, stop by that showroom, 119 Brown Springs Road, right here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And of course, you can search on the Book of Faces at Instagram, see some of the great jewelry pieces that they're showcasing there on those social media pages. But it's nothing like seeing Josh and Leslie and those amazing jewelry items in person. Again, 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery. And be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Now, before we hit our next break, great commentary came out this morning from one of my favorite economics guys, Peter St. Onge. And Peter is pointing out another fake jobs report. In fact, it might have just been a year of fake jobs reports, but I'll let Peter lay it out for you, folks. Here he is. Again, Peter St. Onge. Take it away.
Washington hatched yet another job report that was fantastic on the outside and is pretty nasty under the. According to the Labor Department, employers added 260,000 jobs in December, outpacing forecasts. The New York Times reported with glee and leaving the unemployment rate unchanged at a respectable 3.7%. The Associated Press could barely hold on to their adjectives, telling readers it was a robust number reflecting continued economic strength in a healthy economy. Indeed, that it was, quote, evidence that the Fed may be able to achieve a notoriously difficult soft landing. That would be notorious as in the Fed has never pulled it off in 110 years and literally dozens of attempts. Alas, if you've been paying attention, you won't be surprised that under the hood, it was a brutal report. My friend EJ Antoni went through the numbers. For starters, the economy actually lost 1.5 million full-time jobs in a single month. Replaced part-time gigs, so second jobs and DoorDash, which have now hit nearly 9 million gigs that are counted as jobs. Next, the Department of Labor closed down almost every single job report in 2023. Slashing it all, 430,000 imaginary jobs. That's 40,000 per month. In other words, those jobs never existed. They were figments of the imagination of well-paid government statisticians. Now, getting 10 out of 11 wrong, all in the same direction, is pretty impressive. After all, true mistakes should break about 50-50. Of course, it's different when you are paid to make mistakes and have the so-called birth-death statistical model to black box your way to whatever number the narrative requires. Incidentally, those imaginary jobs were all private sector, so government jobs actually grew more than reported, and they now stand at 23 million parasites, or government workers, as burdens on the rest of the economy. Now, keep in mind, every one of those government jobs is paid for by multiple real jobs. In fact, last month that ratio was just 3 private sector jobs holding up every government job. So you can look at it as you have to hand a government worker a third of your salary to cover his bills on top of the rest of what government spends on wars, climate, vote buying, and so on. Now, in case you wondered how they blow through so many trillions so fast, the final mystery is if all those jobs are fake, why is official unemployment still so low? And that's easy because 700,000 Americans dropped out of the labor force in a single month, adding to the millions who have dropped out since COVID. Where did they all go? Some gave up altogether, so-called discouraged workers. Others went on government benefits, likely for life. Neither are counted as unemployed. They may as well be retired and sprawled on a sofa on a San Francisco corner. Tallying up those missing workers, we would have about not 6 million unemployed at 3.7%. In reality, it would be closer to 11 to 13 million unemployed, with a jobless rate closer to 7%. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. In recent videos, I've characterized our job market as government jobs, DoorDash, and motivated government statisticians. This report keeps it up. The media does everything to hide it, but going by polling, Americans are choosing to believe their eyes. Now the question is, will they vote what they see? Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Again, folks, Peter St. Onge, they always appreciate his takes on the economy and not just going with the usual mainstream accounting of what's going on in the world. Yeah, when you look under the hood of a lot of what's going on in the economy, it ain't as rosy as it's being painted out by, of course, the federal government. And why are you surprised? Why are you surprised at all? Like, when are we going to learn that it's not just the health infrastructure and the so-called institutions of public health? When are we going to learn it's not just the CIA or the FBI that lies? And I'm sure there's no ballyhoo going on at the FDA. There's nothing wrong going on at the SEC or even the FCC. Now, all these people are just hardworking folks on the up and up. They would never massage the numbers to the benefit of a particular political narrative. They would never do that. But of course they would. And they constantly do that. And it's becoming a little unnerving that no matter what scientific field, so-called, that you're talking about, from the economy to, say, running a monetary system, to healthcare and education. It's interesting how the science keeps saying that we need more government. Well, the science is always coming up with the same answer. I have a feeling there's something else going on here. And then when you look at the fact that pretty much all these scientists are paid by the government, well, shocking, right? It's like all these instances of the FBI looked into the FBI, and the FBI found that there was no wrongdoing. I just don't believe you folks anymore. Don't believe you 1 second. We'll see. There are some economists predicting mayhem in 2024, economically speaking, before the election, but they were predicting recession last year. But it's more this zombie economy that's continued to be papered over by government spending and, well, trickery with the numbers. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you, well, whether you're looking to buy a home or sell a home here in the River Region real estate market. And it's not just buying and selling. They can also help you if you want to convert that property into a rental investment. Renting out your home is a great idea in this market, given all the turnover with, say, the military bases around these parts. But managing it yourself can be a pain in the butt. So why not, for a reasonable fee, have the Goodson Group manage it for you from top to bottom? It's a great service. And then the crown jewel there at the Goodson Group is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. It's one of the most highly acclaimed in the state of Alabama because it's very interactive. Of course, number one, Bo is bringing to bear his 40-plus years of experience. He's been through it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're not going to surprise Bo Goodson when it comes to real estate. And that way you can learn from all that 40-plus years, and he's not going to let you just sit there like a bump on the log again. Very interactive, of course, and the proof is all the folks who have gone on to great success after graduating from Bo Goodson's Real Estate School, whether as fully licensed realtors or as more knowledgeable private players. So check out the Goodson Group today. You can always call them at 551-0225. That's 551-0225, or go to thegoodsongroup.com. And be sure to tell Bo and the great team there at the Goodson Group that Joey from News and Views in the afternoon sent you. More news and views after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
We've all fallen into boring routines. We just keep doing what has to get done. Isn't it time to escape the old routine and make time for yourself? Make time to go out with old friends. Make time to add excitement back into your life. Make time to feel like a winner again. Life is more fun when you live it. So what are you waiting for? Escape every day at Wind Creek Casino and on the Casinoverse app.
Hunting season is here. It's time for you to get on over to Prattville Farm Center. Here's Randy to tell you all that he's got on the shelf for you to buy.
We got some good deals. We have seed mixes from WMS, Pennington, Kelly Seed. We have every kind of seed you could possibly want. So y'all come on down here and we'll get them green fields planted. By the way, if you need sprayer parts for your equipment, we got that too. Come on down. 1154 South Memorial Drive in Prattville, 365-5400, 365-5400.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Again, if you want to get in on the conversation or that lecture and monologue, 272-9228. Now, before we hit our top of the hour break here, let's go to Trump in his own words. I don't need to ventriloquize him myself too much. We should hear from the man himself, and this is, well, right after, I believe, the oral arguments in the court today, the ones we discussed with Judge Knapp. Here is President Donald John Trump.
Out today that are really very mind-boggling if you happen to be Joe Biden. And I think they feel this is the way they're going to try and win. And that's not the way it goes. That'll be bedlam in the country. It's a very bad thing. It's a very bad precedent. As we said, it's the opening of a Pandora's box. And that's a very sad thing that's
opening the box.
Whole situation. When they talk about threat to democracy, that's your real threat to democracy. And I feel that as a president, you have to have immunity. Very simple. And if you don't, as an example, if this case were lost on immunity, and I did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. I'm working for the country. And I worked on very hard on voter fraud because we have to have free elections. We have to have strong borders. We have to have free elections. Those two things almost above all. And we found tremendous voter fraud. We have a list of it. We have some findings if you want it. The press doesn't like reporting it, but we found tremendous voter fraud, determinative voter fraud. But we worked on that. That's what I was doing. And they were talking about after. Well, nothing has to do with after I left. It was during the time. And that was what they really focused on today during the appeal. And they concede that, and everybody concedes that. And if it's during the time, you have absolute immunity.
Well, we'll see what the courts decide, and then we'll see what the people decide. I mean, coming up, we've got clips of Michelle Obama talking about how apprehensive she is about what 2024 could mean. At the end of the clip, it's just like, I completely It's like we worship a different God, Michelle. If that's your name. We'll get to that, though, before too long, but I've already seen the smiling face of Madeline Cannon from Alabama Home Mortgage outside the studio. She'll be joining us after the top of the hour break. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. So if you're a man and you've been feeling run down, tired, sluggish all the livelong day, you just don't feel like you used to, you're haunted by past memories of your younger self where you could go all day, all night without petering out. Well, the problem, if you're feeling this across the board, couldn't be low testosterone. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They can help you figure out if that is, in fact, the problem. It's only $99, only $99. In about an hour, you can know your testosterone numbers. And if you do, in fact, have low testosterone, they have low T treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health that can truly change your life. Most men, after these treatments, experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, brother, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns. You might even notice an increased libido, or sex drive, as some call it. You'll be more switched on more of the time, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. So call up Montgomery Men's Health today. Make an appointment, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to montgomerymenshealth.com and be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Tell them that Joey fella on the radio sent you. We'll be right back with Madeline Cannon of Alabama Home Mortgage.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Former President Trump returned to the federal courthouse in Washington. It was for his appeal of charges he is immune from prosecution, that he plotted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The three-judge panel questioned whether they had jurisdiction to consider that appeal. At this point in the case, raising the prospect Trump's efforts could be dismissed. A Wisconsin judge has ruled that the state law does not allow for the use of mobile absentee voting sites, siding with Republicans who had challenged the city of Racine's use of a voting van that traveled around the country in 2022. Stocks remain mixed. The Dow down 207 points, but the NASDAQ is up a dozen. This is SRN News.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group, because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898 and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
The Johnny Adams Law Firm, proud sponsor of the Rich Thomas Weather Network. You can't control the weather, but you can control your drive. Be aware of your surroundings in any weather. Be a defensive driver. Your family and friends will thank you. From the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Well, hi, everybody. The effects of this big storm are certainly not done with us yet. As the risk of showers and storms start to shift out of the area, the very gusty winds continue. Wind advisory in effect. Temperatures will start to fall. We'll be in the low 50s by, let's say, sunset. Colder tonight, and still winds a factor. Overnight low in the low to mid-30s. Wednesday's a cold day. Sunshine returns with a high only in the low 50s. Winds will make it seem colder. Nice rebound on Thursday with a high in the lower 60s, mostly sunny. Then another big deal storm system with more rain and thunderstorms on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Montgomery police have launched a death investigation after a woman was fatally shot Sunday evening. Police responded to the 3800 block of South Court Street at 6:20 p.m. to find 33-year-old Vernicia Searcy with a fatal gunshot wound. She was pronounced dead on the scene, suspect and motive unknown. The heavy metal band Metallica announced Auburn University won its inaugural Marching Band Challenge Sunday. Metallica had challenged marching bands across the country to incorporate their music into their performances. The Auburn Marching Band received $85,000 in musical equipment furnished by Metallica and its sponsors. The United Nations has weighed in on Alabama's plans to execute a death row inmate with nitrogen gas, saying it would result in a painful and humiliating death and may subject Kenneth Eugene Smith to cruel, degrading treatment or even torture. Smith's execution is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. on January 25th. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Todd with River Region Contracting, a premier roofing contractor. Most people don't think that they have a roofing problem until they see water spots and stains on their ceiling. By then, it may be a little too late because the wooden decking that supports their shingle or metal roof may be holding moisture, causing it to rot. Most insurance companies will not pay for the decking, causing you to pay more money out of your own pocket. Why not call us today and set up an appointment for a free roofing inspection? It could save you some money. Call us at 334-356-8635 or go to riverregioncontracting.com or like us on Facebook.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Still working out some technical difficulties here, folks. The hazard of trying to do 2-3 jobs at once, but welcome back into the program. And without further ado, right across the desk for me, good to see a friendly face. We have Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. How you doing, Madeline?
Doing good. Good afternoon, Joey.
Scoot over into the mic there a little bit more. But
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
better.
good.
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. So how's it going there at Alabama Home Mortgage?
Going well. Everything started to pick up. Of course, we've had a little bit of a dip in interest rates. So those people who have been sitting on the fence, uncertain as to whether or not they wanted to enter the market, in this new year, we're seeing a pickup in people who are wanting to get pre-approved to buy homes, and then also those that have cash flow needs for a refinance. So still looking at debt consolidating or getting cash out to do home improvements.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense to me. Or one example that also comes to mind is like I've got a cousin, and as he was graduating from Auburn, his folks are like, okay, well, we want to help set him up in Atlanta where he's getting a gig. So that can be a great reason to take some cash out and, like, you know, give a little nest egg to the kid. So.
That's right. It's your equity. So you can do whatever you want with it, whether you want to take it and head to Tahiti with the family or, you know, help a child buy their first home. It's, you know, it's your equity and you can do whatever you want with it.
And so how much have rates come down? Like if there are folks who've been sitting out there waiting, like why should they maybe have their ears perk up a little more right now?
Sure. So we had been on a steady upward march for about 18 to 24 months. So every few months, the rates were steadily ticking upward. We have started to see rates trickle down a bit. I mean, nothing huge, but every little bit helps. So the rates now are back to what they were early summer. And so, you know, everything depending on credit score and program and term, there's so much that goes into interest rates. But, you know, those rates have come down significantly from what they were before.
Okay, well, that's starting to make sense to me. And, you know, what about the person who, like, I'm thinking of, say, the older couple, maybe you're mid-60s, 70s, like you're not truly old, but you're, you know, you're hitting retirement age.
Sure.
And you're sitting there on a house with like 4 bedrooms or 5, like you had a family and all the kids are out of the nest and you're like, well, I've been sitting on this. But I mean, those folks could really make a great deal if you probably need to downsize.
Yeah, for a while there, for the last 2 years, it didn't necessarily make sense because they were downsizing on home, but they weren't downsizing on payment.
Exactly.
But now that rates are starting to come down, we are seeing people who are looking to do what I would say is the normal course of action right now. They're empty nesters. They don't need that huge home. They don't want the maintenance or the upkeep. So they are selling and getting into something with a lower payment and lower maintenance.
Now, you're telling me about a call you got last week?
Yes, I want to talk about it. So there are thousands of mortgage companies. You know, you can have your pick, but you're not going to get the same level of service at all of them. And at Alabama Home Mortgage, we always pride ourselves in having a difference, right? We talk about that. It's our slogan because there is a difference in mortgage companies. And one of the differences I want to talk about is we are not order takers. We are order makers. And so people may call and they have an idea of, for example, last Thursday, we'll just cut to the chase. She calls in, 75-year-old female, and says, hey, I need your rates on an FHA cash out. Okay. Well, instead of just quoting a rate, we got to talking about, you know, what were her objectives? What was she wanting to do? And through conversation, I found out she had talked to Rocket Mortgage, so a 1-800 lender, national lender, and another local mortgage company. And they both just quoted her rate, sent her a loan estimate, and moved on. Okay. Versus through conversation, I found out that she was the surviving spouse of a veteran who had died from a service-connected disability, receives indemnification pay from the VA for the rest of her life, which means she is entitled to a VA mortgage. Why in the world would somebody quote her an FHA mortgage? She thought that she wanted an FHA mortgage because it had mortgage insurance. What she did not understand is that mortgage insurance is not for her. It doesn't pay off her home in the event that she passes. It is an insurance policy for the lender.
Right.
And so once I broke all that down and explained that to her, she was shocked and felt that she had been hoodwinked, and in a way she was. So, you know, we take the time to really drill down, figure out what the best program is for you, and not just quote your rate and payment based off of what you think you may want when you call in.
Well, and I'm telling veterans all the time, y'all got to go see Kim and Madeline
That's
because
right.
y'all are doing the continuing education, right? Because it's not like it stays the same for 10 years over there at the VA.
It's ever changing, and so we really want to make sure that we can take the best care of our veterans. So we do the continuing education to remain certified veteran lending specialist.
Now, do you, like, just to dig a little bit there, like I know you, I've gotten to know Kim, but why would these other spots, is it just like I'm not the boss, or I don't have that sort of responsibility? The point you made where it's order takers, not people that make orders.
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of maybe people just going through the motions.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, it's not that they don't know about these loan programs, but somebody calls in and says, hey, I want this. And they just, you know, hang their head at the door, I guess, and give them the number that they called in for and hang up and don't think anything of it. But for us, we understand that every call is an opportunity. And we do our due diligence and take our time with the people who trust us with their biggest asset, their home.
That's what Kim told me kind of inspired her to start Alabama Home Mortgage, that she was working at a big bank and
That's right.
doing mortgage origination. And she realized, hey, if I have the ability and the skills to do this myself, and I know for a fact I can get folks better deals than the kind of the system we're doing here at this big bank. So it's great to see that this is like, you know, the tradition continues.
Yep.
And it's only gotten better, I imagine, over the years.
That's right. So as mortgage brokers, we have a lot of control over what we can offer our clients. We don't have a whole lot of overhead. There's 4 of us at Alabama Home Mortgage. So we're not having to cover, you know, branch expenses and things that you would have at a large mortgage company or bank. And we're able to make, you know, savings available to people that, you know, other people unfortunately just have too much expense and can't do so.
Well, folks, it's how we say it all the time. There is a difference.
There is a difference in mortgage companies.
At number 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. You got time to stick around? Just
I'd be
kick
happy
around
to.
some stories? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, more news and views in the afternoon after this.
Not know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Sweetheart?
Yeah?
Well, I've been thinking, I'm tired of this house.
What? You want to move?
Yeah, but we'd have to do some updating, you know, to get top dollar.
Updating really does make a lot of sense, especially when you're talking about lighting. That's where Crosby Electric comes in. They'll help you choose a stunning pendant fixture over your bathroom sink, dramatic flush mount lighting over your kitchen island, maybe some LED panels to backlight your countertops. Energy-saving LED lighting has really come down in price. Or how about a new ceiling fan that moves air more efficiently than fans built only 10 years ago? The bottom line, updating your lighting almost always delivers a full return on your investment.
Well, sweetheart, the house looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Guess I'll put out the for sale sign.
Wait.
What?
I don't wanna move.
Find out how to turn your house into the home you'll never want to leave. Visit crosbyelectric.com or call 272-2085.
I'm with Miss Dot at the Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall, and Dot, we're ready to roll into a new year.
Happy New Year.
Well, tell me what's going on here at Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall.
The booths are being restocked. The hot cider is going. The rocking chairs are here. And there are great sales going on in some of the booths. Really and truly, there's some neat stuff around here. You need to come in and see it.
Shouldn't people plan to come maybe spend some time and find all the treasures here at Eastbrook?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got some that come in and spend their lunch hour, and they bring their lunch and eat as they shop around, and which is fine with me. But then some come and spend the whole day, and I just love that.
Do you have any events coming up soon?
Anniversary sale will be here in February. Don't know the exact date yet, but listen for the ad. Come shop that day because it'll be a great event.
All right, Dot, give us the hours of operation.
Monday through Friday, 10 until 6. Saturday, 9 until 6. Sunday is 12:30 to 4:30.
That's the Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall, 425 Coliseum Boulevard.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Madeline Cannon from Alabama Home Mortgage still sticking around. I appreciate that, Madeline.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And one of the clips that's gone viral today, it's making the rounds, is, Michelle Obama was asked about 2024. And people are wondering if it's not Joe, could it be Gavin Newsom? Could it be even Michelle Obama?
Right.
By the way, in other news, Barack Obama is being reported on the short list for president of Harvard.
I'm not surprised by that.
I'm not surprised by that either. That kind of makes sense, actually, given the way things are going. But let me pull up this clip here of, this is Michelle Obama being asked about 2024 and her biggest concerns. So let's see if we share some of them, or if we think she's just bat crap crazy. It could be probably a little of both. Let's listen in.
What keeps me up are the things that I know. The war in the region, in too many regions. What is AI going to do for us? The environment, are we moving at all fast enough? What are we doing about education? Are people going to vote? And why aren't people voting? Are we too stuck to our phones? I mean, those are the things that keep me up, because you don't have control over them.
Wait, she loses sleep over whether or not people are voting?
Why do they care?
Yeah, well.
Whether they vote or not, right?
Right. Now, I will say I share the whole fear about where artificial intelligence is taking us.
Exactly.
Have you messed around with any of these AI, like
Chat GPT?
Or Grok on Twitter?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's I actually got banned from Twitter today.
You did?
Yeah.
What
I
a badge
said,
of honor.
It's the first time I violated their rules. And apparently they hit me for violent language.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I'll have to take a look to see what you did that was so
Well, I
bad.
already deleted it so I get my account back in 12 hours. But I think I took a screenshot of the actual violation here. Let's see. No. But what I essentially tweeted was about Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
And I said, it's a shame Johnny Carson isn't still alive to go and strangle that creepy little bastard at the nadir of the late night talk medium. And apparently saying that you want a dead man to hypothetically strangle somebody who's alive is violent speech, according to Twitter. So
I thought that was going to get better under the
I thought so
too.
Leadership
of Elon.
Yeah, but maybe I just got a little too feisty there. But let's continue on with Michelle Obama. Let's see what else she is fearing in 2024.
And you wonder, where are we in this? Where are our hearts? What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted. The fact that people think that government, does it really even do anything? And I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? And we cannot take this democracy for granted. And sometimes I worry that we do. Those are the things that keep me up.
She just said it. She believes that government should do everything for us.
That it does everything for us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, government is fear and force.
Right.
Government is fire and fury. The number one killer of people, say, in the 20th century government, states, whether commie or fascist. Yeah, and I don't like this cradle to grave stuff, but...
No.
Oh.
But they sure do, because that gives them control and power.
Right, yeah, and it is amazing how they're helping out the little guy, but they're, funded by some of the most wealthy corporations and, business and financial interest ever known to man.
Yeah, that's why I said they're not concerned about people actually turning out to vote. They're only concerned about those turning out to vote for them.
Right. Now, did you know that California hasn't required proof of U.S. citizenship to vote since 1994?
Wow. So 30 years.
So no wonder. And, people wonder, what are they up to with this whole illegal immigration thing? Well, there was one representative. Her name is Yvette Clark, not Clark the way I spell it. She has an E on the end. I don't. But Yvette Clark, I kind of said the quiet part out loud. Let's listen in to this representative here. He said, one moment.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
Wait, that last part is pretty incredible. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Well, let me go to just that part here.
I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here. I'm from Brooklyn.
Wow.
So she's fine with the illegals in her district because that will be her voting base.
Yeah, or at least help her get a better, more friendly district.
That's right.
And, wow. Thomas Massey, one of my favorite congressmen, he introduced a constitutional amendment this week to exclude electoral advantage for states with millions of illegal immigrants. That it can't count towards your representative population if these are not legal citizens of the United States of America. But that seems to be the game where we break the rules when they suit us and we uphold the rules against our opponents when that suits us as well. 272-9228. We got a few calls rolling in here. You're on there. Who's this?
This would be James.
Hey, James. How you doing?
I'm okay, Joey, and you?
Good.
I may have misunderstood your commentary on what that lady said, the audio that you played. But I think if you go back and listen more closely, she said she wondered what AI could do for us. Are you following me?
I am.
Then that is a concern, is it not, Joey?
And what could it do for? It could make us not human.
Well, one thing I would imagine it could dial up a little more surveillance, so all of us deplorables could be monitored more closely.
It could probably figure out, based on just the few phone conversations we've had over the years, James, that James and Joey, but especially that Joey, they're a threat. They're about to commit crimes a few years later, so we better, pre-crime them, so to speak.
Well, if I'm a threat to our republic, they have gotten to the bottom of the barrel of threats. I am sure there are people out there that have a whole lot grandiose intentions than I. There was at least one other topic I wanted to touch on, Joey, but
sure.
At 60, those topics that are pertinent and relevant and right there within our reach 1 millisecond ago are like gone just that quickly.
Yeah, once you hit 60 and up, your mind should be more looking after and spoiling grandchildren and doing other things like that.
Somehow I managed to skip over that. I guess when I was in high school and college, the young ladies that were within my periphery, they thought, I don't think so.
I know how that is.
Well, but Joey, you have a bully pulpit. And speaking of bully pulpits, it's amazing how those that are on the left view people that are on the other side of the aisle somehow as being wrong. Of course, we have to go back to Barry Moore and his uniparty. I would challenge him to think of it as the quote-unquote ruling class.
Yes.
And that's how they view themselves, regardless of which side of the quote-unquote aisle they sit on. And that can be found locally, whether it's a municipality or county or state. It's like when a certain somebody went to a town hall meeting and tried to raise awareness about the idiocy of replacing water meters with these GPS red water meters here in a small town of 1,000. And I suggested the possibility of someone's water being cut off simply because they disagreed with the political agenda. And the mayor of this small town said, well, nothing is foolproof. That was his quote to me, pretty much verbatim.
Amazing.
Nothing is foolproof. What about that, Mr. Clark?
No, that's just an amazing rule to live by, I suppose. If nothing's foolproof, then why even try?
Well, there you go. Why even bother go out and voting?
Right, exactly.
Joey, I appreciate your time, brother, and Happy New Year, and et cetera, et cetera.
Happy New Year, James. Appreciate the call, man. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Sam calling from Pike County.
How you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing? You sound good. Truth is, I'm wound up crazy. Hadn't been long. Just got out the hyperbaric chamber. So I'm oxygen, full of oxygen. Yes. Yeah. Completely forgot. Well, oh, James, don't take. Hey, James. Yes, James. Brother James, don't. Listen, man. The communists. Anybody that can read and write, they're on the list. So yeah, you're being a published author. They're coming for you, boy. That's all I can say. That's Joey. In all seriousness, I go back to Dinesh D'Souza, his little biography he did on Barack Obama, and it kept going back to Harvard. You know, his father from Nigeria, he like coming in and out of. He hung around Harvard for some reason, and his mother, she was a Harvard graduate, and she spent like Harvard furthered her bill for 11 years. She was in the Indonesian islands and working on her thesis. But it just when you said that about him becoming president of Harvard, it just made perfect sense to me. They have just a long background of. Anyway, I just want to share that 2 cents.
No, they got to find somebody fitting to replace President
Oh, sure.
Gay.
Man, wouldn't that be that's what's better than your cap? You got a former president, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he wants to get his hands in the. That's okay. That's gossip. Shame on.
Yes. Shame on you.
Anyway, other than that, all right, I'm starting to choke out. Let me go.
Appreciate it, Sam. You're starting to sound like Larry Sinclair. We got to go. Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Pardon me, folks. Sometimes I never know what I'm going to get with these calls. I just thought of a thing we can do, Madeline.
Okay.
There is the top story at 1819news.com, top on trending. I've been kind of down in the dumps, got a little bit of a case of the blues because nothing I write in the last few months ever trends. So I guess I'll just keep trying. But Ashley Carter, who does weekend column there for 1819 News, she's awesome. She penned this op-ed. Here's the title. Taylor Swift is not the role model you want your daughter to emulate.
I'm already intrigued.
So I think
I'm not a Swiftie. I know that's
you're
unpopular.
Not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. I guess you saw she was not pleased with a joke made about her at the Golden Globes.
Of course she's not.
And then part of me is like, wait, the Golden Globes is still a thing?
Right. Yeah. I did not tune in, but I did see the clip that you're referring to.
Yeah. It was making the rounds. But here is what Ashley Carter had to write for 1819 News, folks. Taylor Swift's Twitter X profile reads, quote, "I'm the problem. It's me." The infamous Eric Kahn would likely agree with her statement, as he caused a lot of waves on Twitter X last month when he posted the following about Swift. Here's what this fellow named Eric Kahn, who's got an impressive beard, had to say. "It's shameful and sad that a hyper-promiscuous, childless woman, Taylor Swift, aging and alone with a cat, has become the heroine of a feminist age."
Shots fired.
Ashley Carter says, "I tend to agree. We are sitting by and watching our young girls idolize someone who not only dresses in the most provocative of manners, but whose songs on broken relationships leave little to the imagination. It's out there, free to the public, and pushed on our children. We have come a long way from the little house on the prairie lifestyle we once saw in America, a lifestyle which elevated the beauty and role of femininity. We have gone from the simple, elegant beauty of a woman to the absolute distasteful wardrobes which parade women as if they're objects for sale at the nearest corner market. Now that I think of it, market is probably not the correct word. Maybe I should have just left the corner there instead. Ladies and gentlemen, our daughters need better examples," writes Ashley Carter. "They need better role models, and we as parents are responsible for that. What you allow in your home is 100% your choice. But that also means you are accountable for any consequences which follow from that choice. I hear many mothers and fathers say their daughters are just teenagers who want to follow Swift because she's so popular right now. But we need to help our daughters understand that they don't have to follow the crowd, and they can stand up and be different. Part of helping our daughters is to be different comes by pointing out that Swift may not be all that happy. Her lyrics hint at longing and make you wonder what she is really searching for. Is she truly happy, or does she deep down desire a life filled with the natural love of a husband, a family, and a house filled with children, rather than the love of a cat wrapped around her neck as shown on the recent Time magazine cover? Is such a lifestyle as Swift is leading truly what you aspire for yourself or your daughters, or is this the type of girl you would want your son to look at as a potential wife? Let's teach our daughters to want better, to see their beauty in modesty, and to remind them that they don't have to follow the latest trends. I still wholeheartedly believe that Swift has some amazing qualities, and she could be someone that our girls look up to, but only with a changed heart and a focus on a more modest, Christ-filled lifestyle. I pray," writes Ashley Carter, "that just as we encourage our daughters to live a sweet, modest, and chaste lifestyle, so too someone would share the same with Taylor Swift. Maybe, just maybe, she will go back to the sweet, soft-spoken voice that sings simple lyrics, knowing that she doesn't have to flaunt everything to get attention." Well, shots fired indeed. Again, that's from Ashley Carter at 1819 News. It's all over the internet right now. I mean, what's just kind of your first blush reaction?
I mean, like I stated before, I'm not a big Swiftie, but I don't know that I would necessarily say that she is more promiscuous than any other celebrity right now.
Right.
So the fact that she's like the poster child for promiscuity, I think that might be a stretch. But at 34, I don't know that she necessarily is looking to be the role model for 10, 12, 13-year-olds either. So
Right.
yeah, I think a lot of kids have cast her in that light.
Sure.
But I don't know that she necessarily wants to be that.
Well, and I would say no matter who is the big superstar at the moment,
That's right.
pretty much everybody should not try to emulate them.
I would agree.
There's a cost to, like, even if you're like, using the power of your celebrity and your music to spread the gospels themselves, like there is a cost to being that big and well known.
Right. And I would say, she started very young. Like her country music career, what was she, 15, 16 years old when she got started?
Right.
So she's been in the public eye, a celebrity now for more than half her life. And so the fact that she's not been more tied up in scandal and things, I think is pretty telling, because most children that become stars, think of, Amanda Bynes, Shia LaBeouf,
Right.
all of these like childhood stars have like become drug addicts, alcoholics, have not been anything that you want your child to emulate. But I would say for the most part, even though I don't really care for Taylor Swift, she hasn't really had much controversy.
Yeah, other than the media stupid crap. But
Sure.
yeah, in terms of like hard drug use or something along
Yeah.
those lines. I agree. I would just say to Taylor Swift, if she's listening right now, that Taylor, you need to look at somebody who did it before you, named Madonna. And it's really a shame, folks, to see, this is maybe what AI has done for us, James, if you're still out there listening. Madonna dies, and they like somehow reanimate her, and she's a 60-something-year-old woman humping a stage. She's not even alive, and they're making her hump a stage. Taylor, you don't want to end up that way, because it's gross.
Yeah.
Like, there's a thing about aging gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and certain things wear out, and like, I'm sorry, Madonna, nobody wants to see you dead, shaking your tail up there on the stage, except, I guess, other grandmas. Ugh. Yeah, some things just don't age well. Like, you can have fun in your youth and all this stuff, and then if you don't mature, then it starts to get a little old and weird. Somebody just texted me, Madeline. John says, don't forget about the witchcraft with Taylor Swift. Like, what?
I don't know
Is
that
she
I'm
a
aware with, y'all are going to have to catch me up to speed on that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
And Mr. Clark, how you doing, guest?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Duke, this is Madeline. Madeline, this is Duke.
Hey, Duke.
Hey, how you doing? Joey, you need to leave my girl Taylor now. She hadn't been the same since, and I broke up with her years ago, man. She
You can't jump on these airwaves and start telling lies. That's my job.
I don't tell lies. I stretch the truth there once in a while.
Okay, yeah, right.
But no, seriously though, she's not bad at some of them. Like Miley Cyrus, the way she used to be. She's seen that growing up now, but I just think back to how wild she used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these female rappers, don't get me started with some of these sisters. Oh man, I don't like the twerking. I don't like to see nobody twerk, in public like that.
Why don't you like the twerking?
Especially little kids in a Christmas parade and different parades, little kids. I don't like that. A dog can do that. I don't know. Dance. Dance real. A dog can hump and go on.
No, and it is one thing, like raucous, sexy music's one thing, especially in an adult setting. But I still remember this day, I probably told you this, Duke, where I was the DJ at Fun Zone before it got knocked down by a tornado. And it was a Saturday night skate. So the place is packed, and we're playing modern music with the hits. And I've got this massive hoodie on, so nobody can see me. And these two little girls walk up to the DJ booth and go, they had to be 12, maybe that. Yeah. And they say, hey, you got some Laffy Taffy? And I take my hood back, and they go, oh my God, he's white. And then I'm like, what do y'all know about Laffy Taffy? And like, I know enough. And I'm like, you're not even 13. No, the music at that time period at the skate center wasn't bad. It was the whole Lil Jon and Usher and all that stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. I agree with the caller. Is there are so many other, I guess, celebrities that I would point to. I think you're kind of referring to like what Nicki Minaj and those type that have much more tasteful, clothing and songs.
No, Lady Gaga's cleaned up her act.
Yeah, they got too much butt for me to start with, so I want you to turn all that up in the air.
It's a good thing Eddie's not here today. He's he would be very disappointed in you because the last time I brought up Taylor Swift to him, he suggested she eat a sandwich.
Yeah, I like Taylor now. She's all right.
I'm starting to understand, dude.
But she's gonna write a song. She's gonna write a song about this new guy. Yeah, she ain't gonna keep him alone. You know how she's gonna do.
Wait, are you one of these cats that sold your soul to Hollywood like Cat Williams talking about in that interview with Shannon Sharp? Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, cat on a roll, ain't it, boy?
Dadgum. He's like, it's a package deal. They end up with these white women with weird faces. I'm like, oh my God. And you know what? That interview was amazing.
I won't talk about no race today. Somebody might, get me in trouble some kind of way. Let me shut up. Hey, I'll let y'all talk about race. What you say now, Joey?
I didn't hear you. Sorry. I couldn't hear you behind my white privilege. It makes me deaf sometimes.
I ain't studying what folks say about me, boy. You know that, too. Bring it. Y'all got something to say, bring it.
One of these days, we're going to get everybody together. Everybody's going to be friends.
I love everybody, though.
I know. That's how it's going to happen.
Yeah. But the thing about it, though, instead of, challenging me on what I said, they want to put the man on me. Put the man on me for talk to me. If I say something you don't like, challenge me on it, please.
Well, I still think you're wrong on school choice, despite the evidence I handed to you. But I got to run, Duke. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Be good.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Joey from Pratt.
Hey, Joey. How you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be a twin. I'm a little dumbfounded right now, and I can understand the reason. I hear all these comments about the sexuality or the drug addiction or the alcoholism, and those being the problems. I'm more concerned with what her actual show is demonstrating out. Y'all realize Taylor don't really sing country music anymore.
Right.
I mean, her shows consist of rituals. She's actually up on stage doing different witchcraft rituals during her performance. I'd be more concerned about that than what she's wearing.
Well, the two got to go hand in hand with your occult practices. Scantily clad, sexualized women, and we're burning things too. And
she's a whole lot. I mean, I've seen some different little clips and videos, and I'm more concerned with the message she's giving than what she's wearing or working. I mean,
I do wonder. I know she's made big fights, try to be more independent of the industry insiders, but I do wonder. It's kind of the point I just made to Duke. What Cat Williams was saying about his other, his actors, his peers, is the type of person who sort of sells out to, and I don't just mean they get a big check, but they sort of sell out their dignity and their persona to a corporate entity, and you got to wonder how much does that actually cost. And how independent is how much is Taylor doing exactly what she wants, or is she more a construct of something bigger?
It costs you your soul. It costs you every moral you have in your life.
Well, I wasn't using it before, so I thought it was a good deal.
But that Cat Williams interview was hilarious.
I'm gonna have to check this out. I don't know how I've missed
Shannon
it.
Sharp's podcast. It's like 2.5 hours, and it's he's just dropping bombs and calling everybody out.
Oh, okay. I cannot wait.
We're not talking like Hiroshima bombs. We're talking like modern bombs.
Right.
We're talking big. He demolished several people, and the backlashes have been hysterical. Oh, my Lord. But y'all have a good day. I just wanted to mention that about Taylor. I'm less worried about her singing about a boyfriend, or it's the 3 or 4, you get on stage, she does what, maybe 12, 14 songs, with your interactions in between. But there's 3 or 4 performances during those 12 that are really, really discouraging. I mean, and I think people need to pay attention to those a little more than they do once she's dressed in.
Well, I appreciate the call, Joey.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. 272-9228. We got to hit a break here. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And there at Pest Pro Services, Ashley and her team are ready to help you out with any of those pest control needs you might have. You know, for instance, I was talking to Eddie about this yesterday, Madeline. You ever seen the inside of a wasp nest?
The inside? No, I don't like to get close enough to see the inside.
It's like a bee's hive, but none of the honey. And it's just brown, black wasp, and like they're just vicious little creatures. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know, I can handle 3-4 small nests outside in the shed or something. If that was a massive one, got built up in the attic over time, yeah, I need to call a pro. I can't do this myself.
That's right. That's where Ashley and the team come in.
Exactly. Pest Pro Services. And of course, they could also treat your property for termites. Now, you don't want to wait until you already have termites. They can treat it when you have them, but that's expensive. You know, the treatment's one cost, but the damage from termites, you know, neither is actually covered by homeowners insurance. So it's best to get that treatment done now before you ever have any termite issues. They can literally lay down bait. So when termites do hit your property, they hit that bait first. Pest Pro will know and come and take care of them. So you'll check them out today. That's Pest Pro Services, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. What do you want to know? Call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team there that Joey from News and Views in the Afternoon sent you. We got to hit this break, but I appreciate you sticking around, Madeline.
Thank you.
Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Hey there, River Region area. Dawson Electric hopes you had an amazing Christmas and a fantastic New Year. As we step into 2024, it's time to tackle those resolutions and make sure your home or business is in tip-top shape. And for all your electrical needs, there's one name you can trust, Dawson Electric. Whether you're planning a remodel, constructing a new home, or require service for your existing electrical systems, Dawson Electric has got you covered. Need emergency generators installed? Looking to enhance your outdoor space with stunning landscape lighting? Dawson Electric is the answer. We do it all for homes and commercial spaces alike. For more information, you can find us on Facebook. Search for Dawson Electric Company, LLC. Hit the like button and stay connected with us. We're happy to speak with you at any time. Just call 334-270-8024. Say it with me. That's 334-270-8024. For all your electrical service needs for home or business, call us at Dawson Electric. Dawson Electric, lighting up your world.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where dump truck drivers are in demand. Wiley Sanders is on the grow. We need dump truck drivers now. Call 855-77-9785.
Well, hi, everybody. The effects of this big storm are certainly not done with us yet. As the risk of showers and storms start to shift out of the area, the very gusty winds continue. Wind advisory in effect. Temperatures will start to fall. We'll be in the low 50s by, let's say, sunset. Colder tonight, and still winds a factor. Overnight low in the low to mid 30s. Wednesday's a cold day. Sunshine returns with a high only in the low 50s. Winds will make it seem colder. Nice rebound on Thursday with a high in the lower 60s, mostly sunny. Then another big deal storm system with more rain and thunderstorms on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
John Bobo with Capital Tractor. Rev things up tractor. From the #1 rated compact tractor to the #1 selling compact excavator and more. We're powering Alabama. Kubota and Capital Tractor. Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
Looking for surplus or even new steel products? Look no further. At Southern Steel, they are your premier steel dealer to help you save big without compromising on quality. Come browse their vast inventory. From sturdy beams, pipe, and steel plates, Southern Steel has it all. Don't miss out on this opportunity to supercharge your projects while saving money. Visit Southern Steel today at 1295 North McDonough Street or on Facebook or call 240-2223. See you soon.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. But hold your horses, because up first we have Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. How you doing this afternoon, Michael?
Hey, I'm doing great, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, powering through the day, and I have the company of a lovely lady, Madeline Ken with Alabama Home Mortgage, hanging out for this hour. So,
hey, look at you. You got an upgrade from Eddie.
yeah, that's putting it mildly. Talk about understatement. But tell me about what's been going on recently there at Cohen.
Well, I had a couple that came in yesterday looking to replace their television. They have a Samsung, and then they had a Sony in a different room, but the Samsung is the one that they needed to replace. It was about 13 years old. It's about a 55-inch. So, we talked back and forth. They vacillated whether they should upgrade to a 65 or keep the 55. And at the end, they chose the 55. And the husband wanted to take it with him so he could get it home before the rain. And I said something about having our guy do the install, but you probably could do it. It's just more than plugging in an HDMI cable. Next thing I know, the wife has said, we'd really rather have your guy do the install. And I happened to call Michael Jackson. He happened to be in the back of the store loading up. He says, tell me what the model is of that TV. I'll load it up, and you can text me the ticket, and I'll know where to go, and I can get him in a couple of hours. So he gets out there to do the install, and the customer is just mesmerized by everything that he has to do. He thought it was, typically you plug in an HDMI, you plug it in the wall, you turn the TV on, it works. But after he saw everything that he did, he was just mesmerized. He told Michael Jackson, he said, I'm so happy that you're doing this for us, because I never would have got it. And there's so many things that if you get it set up right, it works better, it gives you a better experience. and it makes it have more value with whatever you purchased if it's installed properly.
Well, and I've experienced
and that's
this,
what we try to do.
yeah, and I've experienced that firsthand myself there at Cohen's. And again, folks, like, here's how I think of it, Michael, and I imagine there are a few others think of it this way. If I'm going to spend a few $1,000s on a very nice piece of equipment, whether we're talking on the appliance side in the kitchen or we're talking a big screen TV, I don't want that to just be money wasted because I didn't set it up right or I broke it by accident. These sorts of things.
Absolutely.
You kind of want the built into the price, at least how you think of it, is okay. You want this to actually work and last, and y'all provide that.
Well, that's right, and but more importantly, we want you to get all that you can out of what you purchased.
Right.
And that's the whole key. It's like in my world, they looked at me and I told them, I said, I'm good if you get a 65. I'm good if you get a 55. It doesn't matter to me. You just get something that you're going to be happy with for the next 8 to 10 years.
There you go.
And if that's a 55, then so be it. And it was they were just nice and fun and appreciative, which is always refreshing.
That's why your slogan there at Cohen's is "We deliver confidence." And again, I can testify personally that y'all do. People can always go to thinkcohens.com or give you a call at 277-8890. But I think the best, right, Michael, is for them to stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard.
It's always the best to come in. We're here 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And, we just want to help you make the right decision for whatever your needs are that we can help you with.
Well, I appreciate your time as always, sir. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, we'll be back to the downgrade of Eddie. But no, I miss the guy. I do.
Y'all are beating up on poor Eddie.
Yeah, well, he deserves it. Have you
Day. In Houston County, golf ball-sized hail was also a part of the storm. The identity of the person who was killed has not yet been released. A tornado is confirmed to have hit in an area in Cottonwood in that county, making the roads into the town obstructed and impassable by falling trees. The tornado then moved from Houston into Jackson County. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. Become a member today.
2 people had to be rescued in waters of Mobile Bay after their boat ran aground on a jetty during all of the severe weather that hit the state. The rescue occurred off the coast of McNally Park. Mobile Fire and Rescue sent one of their boats to retrieve the 2 persons who were on board that pontoon. A Rainsville man is facing charges for assaulting with a knife. 52-year-old Ballard Pennington Jr. is accused of stabbing 2 people who then sustained life-threatening injuries. Police were called to a home after the stabbings where Pennington Jr. tried to run from authorities. He is now being held in the DeKalb County Detention Center and facing multiple charges. A new leader is about to take charge of the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command. Lieutenant General Sean Gainey has been promoted as commanding general. Gainey will replace Lieutenant General Daniel Karbler. The change of command ceremony will be held today at Redstone Arsenal. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
I'm Wiley Dempsey. I own Carter's World here in Montgomery. I've been here for over 10 years. We recently moved across town to 6383 Atlanta Highway. Without Blue Water, we wouldn't be able to be as successful as we are. They got the message out to thousands of people.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with the updated market report. Over the past 11 and a half months, over 4,100 homes have sold and closed in our MLS system with an average price of $245,000. Houses are selling at listed price throughout the river region, and over 35% are selling in the first 30 days on the market. Rising interest rates tend to keep some people from buying, but it didn't stop over 4,100 families from buying this year. There's a cost to waiting and expecting rates to fall, and that cost is appreciation, which has been rising nearly every month for the last 2 years. So the house that you delay buying this year could cost you $35,000 more next year, even if the rate falls. One alternative is to buy now, refinance when rates improve, and that way you are not paying more for the house that you really wanted. For the facts, call Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
That's how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. Well, it seems like we got everything under control with the power going out, folks, and the show must go on. And as promised, we have the Mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, here. Mr. Mayor, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. So there's so many things that we could talk about that pertains to the city. The one thing that's on my mind, because of all this weather that rolled through last night, and I talked about this with Councilman Szymanski the other day, I think he was proposing, like, extend the amount of months for, like, leaf pickup, branch pickup, all this sort of debris.
Yeah.
What do you think of that idea?
Well, listen, I think he's made some good points in that. We've had a lot of conversation over probably the last 6 months on this with the previous city council as well as now the new city council members. And basically what it comes down to is how we can be more efficient in serving our residents. One thing that people have to keep in mind, and I'll show my age here a little bit, well, really a lot of bit. You know, the city has grown eastward, but we still have to service those areas that were a part of the city.
Right.
And so it's a lot harder for us to be as efficient as we want to be with more and more houses, which is a good thing going up, you know, out east. You know, again, showing my age, I remember when there wasn't anything past, you know, Bell Road, and I'll have somebody come on and say, well, I remember there was nothing past the boulevard. Right. So, you know, but, you know, Bell Road was really, you know, kind of the end of things, and that was, you know, high school for me. So when you look at how much growth, we're looking at a lot of different options to provide the pickup service that we want to provide and that the citizens would like us to provide, but we're going to have to make some changes now. We can't do at the rate of pickup with leaves and things and trash the way we used to, how we're doing it right now. So one thing we're kicking around, and we have been again for several months, has been, do we go to 2 cans? You know, do we go to 1 day pickup?
Right.
Do we increase the fee? So there've been a lot of things that we've looked at benchmarking other cities. And Montgomery, again, is one of those things that we've gotten used to and accustomed to, that we really are behind what other cities in Alabama are doing. And we want the results, but we got to be willing to make those sacrifices. And the leaf pickup really slows us down to be able to service homes and how many homes we can hit.
Right.
It adds, it takes about 20 minutes if the workers have to pull the leaves in themselves versus bag them. So when we looked at the data, we can service a lot more homes each day and pick up those limbs, pick up those things that debris, and people call 311 and talk about if we get a little bit of help. And I think that the council is kind of working that out and still having that debate, and we'll provide some more information here in the upcoming weeks. But I respect his position, totally understand it, but we're going to have to give a little bit if we want to get those results that we want. And if it's not in that, then we got to think through again, how do we do it? And I don't know if there's ever going to be a perfect time for us to do it.
And maybe you can't or don't want to answer this, but like I think it's interesting. Well, I'll put it this way.
You know, there's not a question I won't answer. Go ahead.
I know, but you know, sometimes we're in public here. There's a lot I don't say on these airwaves, and I say too much.
Yeah.
No, the question I'm getting at is, you've got the new council that's been in there now, was just sworn in, what, a month or so ago? November. And would you say with the new kind of the shakeups, like, how's the working relationship? And I know there's a lot of working behind the scenes. We don't just see it at the council meeting.
Well, I think the working relationship has been very smooth. They are very interested, very open-minded to some of the ideas. You know, they inherited some bad things, and we had to address that kind of abruptly with the Camellia Bowl stuff. But I think City Council President C.C. Calhoun's doing a great job of working with the old and the new, if you will. And we're trying to make sure we do the same by extending, more communication, maybe even over-communicating with them on a lot of things, because they have questions. And that's a good thing. They're coming into it with the right spirit and the right mindset. And what we want to do is to let what was going on with the previous council be those 4 years, and we start fresh and new with everybody, and that's how we're going to work from the mayor's office as well. So it's been good. They've got a lot of questions. And one of the things with Councilman Zemansky we wanted to do with the leaf ordinance is respect, his approach, because he's got an older part of the city,
right?
That Cloverdale Garden District area, as well as some more historic areas as well, Cottage Hill and all that. Well, not Cottage Hill, that's 3, but he has more that South Hull district where you've got a lot of older trees, a lot of leaves, not like some of the neighborhoods out east. And so we don't want to, shortchange him or any other new council member by putting something in place when they really haven't had time to get their feet on the ground. So that's kind of where we are right now in this deliberation, and we'll have some more of that moving forward.
Now, is there a particular goal or thing you want to get accomplished in 2024 that you'd be like, hey, it ain't a good year if I don't get this done? Is there something you really want to get done this year?
Oh man, God, yeah. I mean, we've got to change this homicide rate. I mean, that is the big. I mean, that's not even the elephant in the room. I mean, that's the one that certainly stands out. We went up. We had a dip from 21 to 22, then we were right back up to where we were in 23, where we were in 21. So trying to account for that, we'll probably be making some changes in some spaces around that, and we can't have those results and not make changes. Look, we were talking about college football before we came on. You see teams firing their defensive staffs, firing their offensive staffs. And making, changes here and there. And so we're going to have to look at what changes really have to be made across the board in our administration to provide better outcomes and maybe to provide a better response to that throughout the community. So that one jumps out by far. I think when you get past public safety and wanting to see better outcomes there, we certainly have some great economic development announcements that we'll be sharing in the first quarter of this year. Some great announcements for the city itself in terms of its growth. Those things are great, but we really want to see the community centers come online. We want to see more concrete planning and implementation from the school board around the partnerships with our community centers as well as the county commission. And we want to make sure, again, that the things that we've been talking about are done and we aren't studied to death. And what I mean by that is, sometimes you can do so many studies that you never, you're fearful of doing the wrong thing that you don't do anything. And we've got to move in some of those spaces. And I think the last thing is certainly there's some urban renewal projects that we want to see done in this city. And I would consider it to be a success if we can have those announcements here as well. So, we look at those things by and large, those are the things that jump out to me as what we really want to see happen here in the first part of this year.
I had somebody call up and say that I believe it was a 14-year-old who shot somebody.
Yeah.
I was just happened to be at the light there on Taylor Road trying to hit the interstate right next to East Chase. And I look over and I'm like, why is this car going slow? And there, a lot of cruisers, police cruisers, blue lights going. And the video made the rounds on social media, sadly, somebody being shot and killed point blank. Essentially, I
hadn't seen that. I'm glad I haven't.
It's pretty. It's not graphic in the sense that you see, but you see him put his hand in the car and fire, and everybody runs and hops in another car and gets out. And so when you see stuff like that, like how can that be stopped? Is it more hiring? Is it police practices? Is it like getting the folks younger at a different generation? Like, how do you stop?
Yeah, so that I don't see that as more of a police issue. That is a domestic violence issue. That's a relational issue, and to be honest, we have too many of those. When you dig down in, it doesn't take us long to find out, what and how. Now, the court proceedings are something different, but motive behind it usually. Our folks have been great at finding out, and the community has been great in sharing things with us. And that's why our closure rate is, almost twice as high as the national average. And our closure rate is basically capturing the people that commit the crime, essentially. And then we turn it over to the DA and the judicial system. But that situation is unfortunate because it comes down to conflict resolution. And it's something that Chief Albert talks about all the time, is how to avoid conflict, how to walk away. Unfortunately, what we're hearing, and I serve on a number of national boards and committees for a reason, and that is to get as much data and information as I can, the best practices to implement here. That's the sole reason why I try to do those things and talking to people in other cities. What we're finding is a different culture than what certainly I grew up in, and I think even one that was 10 and 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The culture around what you just said, social media, is different. And what we're being told, public safety committees and others, is that a lot of people are responding violently, not just because everybody's packing, because that's part of it, but no one wants to be embarrassed on social media. It's amazing that I'm in, these meetings, and that's what it comes down to. It's like, really? That's what you're telling me? No one wants to be seen being beat up or whatever it may be. And so the response is, I'm not going to be one of these people that somebody sees on video thousands of times in this city or that city or whatever it is. I'm going to end this, and if I'm going to be on video, then it's going to be me doing X. That has probably been one of the most informative things I've gotten over the last 18 months, is how prevalent that is in the culture of, hey, no one's going to have a video of me, because what? When people see a fight now, they don't try to break it up. They pull out their phones.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The people who are in it don't want to be seen being beat up, so their thing is, well, I'm going to pull out a gun.
Right.
And it's just that change. And how do you, your question was, how do you do that? I think we've got to have more intervention programs in our schools. We've got to have more intervention programs in our communities. We've got to beef those things up. And that's part of, again, what we can do through Parks and Recreation. We have to navigate a different Parks and Recreation department than maybe it was when some of us were growing up here, like myself, through our organizations, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and others. But we also have to get into schools, and we're told that by young people, we're told that by teens, we're told that by parents. And the parents often are, helpful in the sense of trying to get help, but not really having a lot of outlets to help some of the young men and young women who have issues, anger issues, emotional issues, and things that have gotten them off that beaten path. So we've got to make sure we do it before we get to the police, because we can have a cop on every corner. You're not going to address what happened in East Chase, and that's unfortunate.
And I agree with you there. Though, speaking of police,
now I want more police, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
So for those who are listening that want to apply, please feel free to go to our Facebook page, social media, or MPD Montgomery. We can use those as any other mayor that I talk to, and most mid-sized cities. We're all looking, and we're all pulling from the same pool, it seems like.
Because would you say we're off from the number of budgeted officers?
Oh yeah, we're all, but that listen, that number is there because in part the council doesn't want to cut the number of heads in the police department. The mayor doesn't want to cut the number of heads that are budgeted in the police department. It's not good optics for anybody to do that. We haven't been at the number budgeted within 89% of that, and even before I got in office.
Right. So are you sitting at like 300 something officers?
No, we're I think a little closer to, we're a little bit over 4.
Okay.
But we're budgeted, I think, for 480 something.
Right.
So we may be, depending on retirement and leave, we may be at a little bit less. So if somebody calls and says, hey, it's 383 or 390 something. Okay, that's within what I would call the margin of error versus active. But I will commend our police chief and proposing raises and proposing signing bonuses, recruiting and retention bonuses for changing how we recruit. We'll have our largest class this year that we've had in the last 2 years combined because we're casting a wider net.
Right.
And what we're also doing is we're working with some of our associations here, whether it's down payment assistance for public safety and first responders in the city, as well as homeowners as well, to kind of provide some of those incentives that we've seen in the Carolinas, those incentives we've seen in Colorado and Oklahoma that, make a difference, when you're looking at the bottom line, because we want to keep increasing that pay. We want to keep increasing the quality of support there in terms of training and time off and all of those things. But again, we're dealing with a shrinking pool. And that pool is not just in Montgomery, it's not just in Alabama, it is nationwide, and we're all grappling with, how do you get people back into policing? And one of the things that we've been told we're going to have to deal with is that pool is going to take time to build back up. And in the meantime, we're going to have to make sure we maximize technology as a force multiplier to assist us in our crime fighting efforts.
Makes sense to me. And I was going to ask you, still happy with, have confidence in Chief Albert, but it sounds like yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's more this nationwide trend, like this, as you said, shrinking pool of just talent, a number of people that are trying to do this job.
Yeah.
It's just creating, it's not an internal thing or anything like that.
Listen, I think anytime you deal with people, you have challenges you have to overcome, whether it's sanitation, whether it's parks and rec, whether it's engineering or police and fire rescue, or even in the mayor's office for that matter.
Fair.
I think we're always managing people. And so we can never think that there aren't things that we can improve. And so whether that's, again, public safety or administratively, we're always looking at ways to improve the culture and to improve our work environment and the things that we can do a little bit better. So, we talk about that regularly. We talked about the end of the year of how to kind of, hit the renewal button, hit the reset button for the start of 2024. But I'm glad about where we are right now. More importantly, where we're headed.
Now, we only have like about 8 minutes left. So it could be fun to move off of just direct city issues.
Yeah.
And as far as you can, I know you answer any question. When you look at this brand new District 2, for congressional district,
Yeah.
and you see how many Democrats have thrown their name, like 13?
Yeah, it's been a lot of, I can't keep up, but yeah. It's a
So
lot.
what do you make of this? Like, just seeing the new district number 1, it's in place, it's happening, this election's happening, and seeing all the names that jumped in, like, what do you see for the Democratic Party in Alabama going forward, especially given this new district that we're in?
Well, one, let me say this: as the mayor of Montgomery, I'm looking for a representative who's going to help Montgomery, the River Region, and Central Alabama. That's so. You want to know my litmus test? It's what's your plan for our legislative goals there, and how do we build on that? Understanding that Congress and things that happen there don't take place overnight. If anything, they may not take place in several years. So you have to have a long-term, priority list there, but with a short-term approach to it as well. So we're looking for a representation that's going to prioritize this region for sure, regardless of party. So I worked with Martha Roby.
Sure.
She's in it. Worked with Barry Moore. When Mike Rogers had a part of it, Terry Sewell. So we're going to work with whoever it is, but we want to make sure they have a strong sense of direction of what we need, whether it's Maxwell Air Force Base and Gunner, whether it's our infrastructure needs here in the city, and then what we can do regionally to move this area forward, because we just see a lot of the state dollars moving, Birmingham north. So for those of us that are in Central Alabama and South Alabama, we got to make sure that we kind of work our way back from the state dollars too, but certainly we have a presence at the federal level. I think it's going to be an interesting primary. A lot of them are legislators, so they got voting records, and the Democratic Party is going to have to make the decision on who's going to serve the best interests of this region and who has the best record of doing, just that. So I look forward to heat up over these next few weeks, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of debate around that. It's been pretty quiet so far, but I think that's about to change.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to be an interesting outcome to see. But I'll also mention this real quick and let you ask your next question. The congressional race is important because federal representation is, it is so vital for us. And it's great to have a senator here like Senator Britt that calls Montgomery home, and even Senator Tuberville, who's very, very familiar with this area. That is great, but you've got to have that strong congressional presence to do some of the things that are going to really close the gap. And if you look at Central Alabama as a region, we are behind in population growth and economic growth. We're the worst performing in both of those out of all the regions in Alabama. So we've got our work cut out, and we need a great partner at the congressional level that can help us with those requests. So it's not even just about the city of Montgomery, even though Montgomery is the anchor, is the heartbeat of this region. It's about this entire area and making sure that, who we send to Congress understands, what our priorities are, is willing to kind of carry those out.
Yeah, and it should be, the general election should actually be competitive.
I agree. Yeah.
In Alabama, it's kind of the joke is always the actions in the primary, and the general's kind of
I think it's going to be different
conclusion.
on this one.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch. So, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Cowboys.
Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl.
We're going to surprise. We're going to surprise that we're due. Jimmy Johnson's in the Ring of Honor. So we have healed all the scars from the 90s. I think now with the Eagles nosedive, we go into San Francisco and we get retribution on the 49ers for their elimination of us over the last couple of years. So,
I'm supposed to be a Buccaneers fan, and I guess we eked into there being the champs of the NFC South.
But you're in there on a good ride, and I think it's going to be a very interesting play. Now, listen, it'd be just my luck that Mike McCarthy has a meltdown against his old Green Bay Packers team. We don't get out of the first round. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Don't take it to Vegas.
You never know. And I don't know if you saw this interview that broke the internet, but is Cat Williams spitting crazy nonsense, or is the man a genius and he's just speaking the truth?
I think he's a marketing genius. I mean, wouldn't you want that when you started your comedy tour? Right. I mean, do you think he has to worry about any tickets now being sold? But he's got 3 stops. We need to add a 4th stop in Montgomery. We need a comedy. A comedy club here. We could all use a lot more laughter.
Amen.
In our lives. So if anybody knows some folks that are in that business, tell them we're open for ideas. We could use that.
Oh, I've been watching his stand up since I was in high school or middle school even. And
now you're making me feel real old. All right. I guess it's time.
No, I saw one short clip and I'm like, I watched the whole 2.5 hours. I'm like, I can't stop. Because he wouldn't stop. He was hard in the paint against
30
everybody.
30 million views. I mean, it was amazing. And again, it just shows how information carries. And listen, that's probably more people than will watch the national championship last night.
Right.
I mean, that's more than an NBA game. So when you think about that, just amazing, how things work these days.
That's my running theory is that, here's my running theory, just macro scale of what's happening in the country, that a lot of our institutions were built by a generation or two before, say folks our age. And so there's some renovation at least that needs to be done. And then at the same time, you have this technological revolution with, Twitter, X platform, social media, as you're talking about how it's affecting young kids. I think it's affecting everything to where now people can speak to one another like never before, including in nasty ways.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing okay, the institutions that should be doing us right. I don't think there's one major U.S. institution above water in approval, maybe just the U.S. military, maybe small business. Everything else you can think of is in the toilet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we just need more controversies and just let it out. Speak the truth.
Well, listen, can we put one controversy to bed?
Okay.
Alabama did not lose the game on the 4th and 3. All right. Alabama lost that game on the 4th and 2. That they gave up on the defensive side in the last 3 minutes of that game.
You're right.
And we got to give Michigan some credit. They shut down probably the best quarterback who I thought should have won the Heisman Trophy in the country last night. So it wasn't just a fluke what they did to Jalen Milroe. So for all those who say, well, can Alabama win a national championship with Jalen Milroe? Well, you didn't win one with the number 1 overall pick in Bryce Young. I think Jalen Milroe got you in the same position in college football playoffs. So with one more year, yes, you can win a national championship with them. So let's get Michigan there once in a quarter century due. They got their national championship. And as I have shared with my family from Detroit and the outlying suburbs, enjoy this. And by the time we see it, some of us won't be here anymore. And the rest of us won't be able to remember if we're here or not.
Well, and all that I say War Eagle, because I'm liking Hugh Freeze in that recruiting class he's got. It's good seeing you.
Recruiting class, absolutely.
Really good seeing you. And I was in touch with your folks, so I'd love to make this a regular thing.
Same here.
Month. So
we'll
appreciate you, sir.
Great way to start off the year.
Yes, sir. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our number one goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hello, this is Pam with All About the Bounce. We have been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for a little over a month now and have seen great results. Thank you, Blue Water, for helping us to bring the bounce to more customers across the River region. Radio advertisement is definitely the best advertisement.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by H&H Carpets, where you will find a complete line of Mohawk carpet with exceptionally clean, smart strand fiber. It's always available and ready to be installed. H&H Carpets, across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Rich Thomas weather. Well, hi, everybody. The effects of this big storm are certainly not done with us yet. As the risk of showers and storms start to shift out of the area, the very gusty winds continue, wind advisory in effect. Temperatures will start to fall. We'll be in the low 50s by, let's say, sunset. Colder tonight and still winds a factor. Overnight low in the low to mid 30s. Wednesday's a cold day. Sunshine returns with a high only in the low 50s. Winds will make it seem colder. Nice rebound on Thursday with a high in the lower 60s, mostly sunny. Then another big deal storm system with more rain and thunderstorms on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Rounding out the show solo here. 272-9228 if you want to try the phone lines here. They're everything knocked out with the power strike. So hopefully everything seems to be in working order at the moment. Got a few comments rolling in. Again, folks, we're now live streaming the show, Joey Clark Live on YouTube. You can always like and subscribe. Putting out shorts of the show as well on YouTube, Facebook. You can also look up Joey Clark Live on TikTok to see a lot of short videos there. And it's amazing. I was just talking with DJ Fresh from across the hall, and I think Cat Williams is loved by most everybody. I honestly do. Because, you know, Randall's commenting, Ricky Smiley. Yeah. Mark Cumby, Cat Williams exposing folks. Politicians need to be exposed as well for all their lies and deceit. And when you talk sports, you're talking my language. Well, there you go. Let's see who this is calling in. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, man.
Hey, Randall, how you doing?
Just checking it out for you. I know you knew your thing about. Man, great interview as again. Just like always, man. You got that down pat. And I was just checking out on my timeline. Talked yesterday. One of your old Facebook pages had a bunch of clips on it from back in the day.
Oh, the Joey Clark
Man.
Radio Hour. I remember that.
Man, you ain't. I don't know how you ain't changed. But, you know what I mean? I ain't saying you ain't changed in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's funny, Randall, because I have
What-
other folks who are like, oh, you've changed so much. You become so conservative and right wing. I'm like, well, you don't really fit.
No. The only thing that's changed is the religion part. People have to go way, way, way back.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Like so, you know, and that's one thing that it has. That. Other than that, like, there ain't no other teenager, young 20-year-old could have done what you did and not have to go back and be like, hey, man, you know, I done growed a little bit. It's like you already had growed at 7, you know what I mean, 18, and when, you know, you start with Dan, whenever how old you was, you know, you wasn't talking much, and I wasn't even listening then. I just went back and heard some old stuff, you know what I mean, just checking you out back in the day. I went and searching for old pictures of you at one time. You know, I found and the oldest one I could find was on Dan's his own page.
Oh, is that one
But
where
he
I'm
had-
clean shaven? It's an ugly, ugly look.
Man, it was right out of college. Oh, you was in college. I guess you still at Auburn part. I know it was his Dan Morris app, which he's done closed down now.
Sure.
So, but it's not there no more. But it had your little bio, you know what I mean, that you wrote you wrote about your little self, telling about yourself, and then Dan had a little write up on there about. I love that. Dan's little app was a work. It could have been like, you know, you can go in there and learn a lot of stuff about different things. Like his app was a little different. It just wasn't. I guess nobody. You know, it's hard for y'all to run everything. You can't do everything. And you was doing that and the Aaron Gregg show by then. So by the time I was going back looking at all this stuff, but man, that was another great one, boy. You know, it's for real. So I like how you just kind of tickle the reels and get what we need out of him without. So he'll come on back, sit on down, you know. And I like that day he was in this, you know, in the relaxed outfit. You know, that was pretty cool. And being on Facebook and them showing that side of it, the day of the day before his inauguration, or might have been the day of his inauguration. He came in and spoke, and he was just wasn't in no suit and tie. First time I ain't never saw him in a suit and tie. And so, you know. But,
Well, I appreciate you taking me down memory lane, and I sometimes forget some of y'all have been paying attention to me for way too long. You've seen too much.
Man, no. You've taught us what we needed to know. Like,
And I see
you
your
know,
comment, by the way, on the live stream. How about all those comments about Ricky Smiley? Why would you say that he should wear a dress? Because that's the most believable role he can play. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Man, did you see that part? Now Ricky done put out there him crying on Facebook now. He done got he's fixing coffee and crying. Got a grown man asking him, is he okay? I don't know what all was going on. It may be something deeper than what Ricky Smiley
Yeah,
said.
who knows? I just love those interviews that break the internet, and you find that everybody's paying attention to a certain someone. I think we figured out that everybody hates Chris and loves Cat Williams.
But you think this? I mean, you think they pretty much done this, right? Like, there ain't no way that because they really was pushing Shannon's whiskey. Like you can't even you gotta get on a wait list.
Oh no, it's all about selling. It's about selling the tour. It's about selling the name. It's about getting out there in the conversation everybody's having.
Yeah.
And it was a genius
and now
level of it.
You know, brought some people who wasn't relevant back relevant again. Like really, I mean, and then on top of it, and then Boosie just done the same thing right here, and he kind of stood on it while the dude was in Birmingham. I don't think he's done a show since Birmingham. Broadway, like Boosie stood on his neck, and like I just don't see how a producer worth his weight who produced like them boys that them two cats that done right way. When I looked at it, there ain't no way they ever recorded that song and not know that it was Boosie stuff. Like there is no way they didn't know that.
Wow.
I think Boosie created Rod Wave for and done this, and now you know what I mean. The Rod wasn't nobody, you know what I mean.
And you got to wonder what's real and what's not. And I know I'm preaching to the converted there, but I also got more calls rolling in. Appreciate it,
All
man.
right, brother. We'll see you, man.
Let's go to line 2. You're on there? Nope, I guess not. Hello? Anybody there? You're on there? Who's this?
Red Top.
Hey, Red Top, how you doing?
I'm sorry I missed I wanted to ask the mayor when the new high school was going to be getting construction, and I see Carver's got a big addition on the front of it. He didn't mention that in the interview at all, did he?
No, we didn't get to any new schools being built. And wouldn't that be under the county system anyway?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the mayors, everybody's always talking about
Sure.
education. That's a big deal. The new Percy Julian High School ought to be kicked butt. There's one thing, another thing happened today is, of course, ULS launch did not make it to the moon, unfortunately. And that's a shame because that's all homegrown boys up there that were doing that. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Not really, no.
Oh, the moon launch that failed yesterday.
Yeah, what was the problem? Was it a fuel problem, they said?
It's a propellant leak that has to do with after-launch controls and things like that. The solar panels were not deploying. So, things are a lot different now than they were 50 years ago.
Sure.
Now, as soon as you get up, no matter where you're going, you deploy those solar panels and start to generate electricity. So that wasn't happening. They never got full power, and they did have a propellant leak. So
they had to essentially go on a trajectory that's like right towards the sun to be able to hit those panels, and apparently got off kilter somehow, and they kind of missed the mark.
Well, if they never got them open.
Wow, okay,
And,
wow.
you've got to circle the Earth one time at 24,500 miles an hour to achieve escape velocity to the moon. So if they were not able to do that, then I don't think this was going to make it to lunar low orbit. And, Starship is sitting on, I don't know if you've seen the picture of it, sitting on the pad, the whole full stack. It's a wicked-looking rascal. That's all I got to say. Just solid black. But and next month, Blue Horizon's going to be putting up a moon lander. But and NASA is still scheduled to fly all the way around the moon with 4 astronauts this coming November. So a lot going on, but they got to get this moon lander working. There ain't nobody going to the moon. You know what I mean? And a lot of it has to do with Alabama. High technology place this is. They may be rocket city rednecks, but they're still rocket engineers. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, most highest IQ per capita, for sure.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And so, thank goodness I was telling them on the morning show this morning, thank goodness we have Huntsville and Montgomery to drive the intelligence in this state, because it ain't coming from nowhere else. Roll Tide, go Trump. Thank you.
Thanks, Red Dot. This part of the program brought to you by, Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And just to reiterate the point, they are a full-service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. So they have an incredible selection of jewelry items, of course, that meets whatever price point, from very high-end to that sort of everyday jewelry that doesn't break the bank. They have an incredible selection of watches as well. They can do repairs. They can do spa cleanings of that jewelry. Maybe you need to reset a stone. Or it could be you want to do a fully customized piece of jewelry. Maybe it's just a fun thing, like you want some funky fresh medallions that you can rock, out on the town with your buddy or something. Could be you want to surprise, say, the wife for the 25th anniversary and kind of do a rework of the engagement ring. And wedding bands. Well, they can do that there at Dillon Rings. In fact, Josh Ryder has made jewelry pieces for people that they dreamed of. So if you can dream it, Josh Ryder can make it a reality. Y'all check him out today at Dillon Rings. You can always go to DillonRings.com or just search Dillon Rings on the Book of Faces or Instagram. Or call them at 215-3669. All those ways are great ways to see what they're going on, what they have going on there at Dillon Rings. But I really encourage you to stop by, see Josh and Leslie there at 119 Brown Springs Road. It's just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that, Joey from News and Views, that fell on the radio, sent you. 272-9228. Trying to just see if we missed anything breaking in the news while we were interviewing the mayor here. The tapes exist, declares Epstein's victim. More docs released, developing. Oh, no. Are we finally going to get to the truth? But Epstein victim Sarah Ransom doubles down on Prince Andrew, Richard Branson, and Bill Clinton's sex tape claim, though she's also not, she's contradicted herself, this lady who's made these claims over and over again. So who knows? Who frickin' knows what is the actual story there with Epstein? Sometimes I think we're right on the verge of actually getting to the truth of it, or now I'm starting to think it's just, and for years it's been stringing people along. It's been a big old distraction. Huh. No, nothing breaking so far, folks. Not that I'm seeing. But here's one thing we can do. Let's go to Ron DeSantis. Yeah, we're getting close to Iowa. We're getting close to that final moment where there'll actually be caucus goers making a decision in Iowa. It'll be January the 15th, I believe. So it's getting very close indeed. The guy who's clearly worked the state the most is Vivek Ramaswamy. The guy is a machine in the amount of political events he's doing. But DeSantis is in kind of a neck-and-neck fight with Nikki Haley. Of course, Trump's in the lead, clearly. So I think Trump's going to win Iowa. Trump's going to win New Hampshire. Trump's going to win South Carolina. Trump's going to win most, if not all, the states in Super Tuesday. So that's where I think it's going to go. But here's Ron DeSantis making his case on Face the Nation that, well, Trump needs a debate before we actually start voting. Let's listen in.
First. Our CBS polling shows half the country expects there will be violence from the side that loses in future elections. Do you share that concern about this race?
Oh, I hope not. I mean, I think that, we have an opportunity. One of the reasons I'm running is I think the Republicans, we have a great shot to win if we frame the issues about the problems facing the country, the failures of the Biden administration, and how we have a great set of ideas to turn the country around. And I've shown how that can be done in Florida. I think if we're relitigating the past elections, if it's about, Donald Trump or his legal issues or criminal trials or all that stuff, I think it's going to be a really nasty election. I don't think that puts Republicans in a good position to win. So we need to have an election on the issues. We need a candidate that can win a clear-cut victory, and we need to start looking forward as a country.
You have never lost a political race before in your career. You are a second in the CBS Iowa projections. Is that victory enough for you?
Well, we got to win a majority of the delegates. This is a long process. We're doing really well in Iowa. I kind of like being underestimated, Margaret, so I hope people kind of say that. But we've got the enthusiasm. When the calendar clicked to 24, you see we got more undecided voters coming out to all our events. So we're going to outwork everybody. But this is a long process. There's a lot that happens to accumulate all these delegates. We're going to do well in Iowa, but we're also going to be competing in all these other states. And I think that there's a lot of real estate. I think a lot of things are going to happen. I wish the former president would actually debate, though. I mean, I think if you're going to stand for nomination, you should be able to stand on a stage to do it. I'm happy to debate him on your program, or if your network wants to host a debate in New Hampshire or South Carolina. But the idea that he can go and just read off the teleprompter for 45 minutes and then go back, back home, that doesn't cut it in Iowa, and that doesn't cut it in a lot of these states. And so let's go, get on the stage, and let's have the debate of ideas. And I hope Donald Trump will be willing to do that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be willing to do that, Ron, Governor, anytime soon. And it's because, he's leading by a lot still, despite all the legal troubles surrounding the former president. It's almost like people don't buy into all the things said about Trump anymore, including from Republicans like Ron DeSantis. But we shall see. This part of the program brought to you by, again, Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they can help you fellas out. Now, of course, with low T, they can help you if you've got those symptoms of low T, which is being run down, sluggish, tired, lacking energy, lacking motivation, lacking focus, like you're just mentally tired too, listless, even aimless. But it could be you have some other issues unique to you as a man. It could be prostate issues. They can, when they do that testosterone test, also get you a PSA score, which is a great marker for prostate health. And it's a much less invasive procedure to check prostate health in the old school way. You know what I'm talking about. But maybe you've got, problems in the bedroom. Like ED or PE. It's almost worse. But whatever your problem might be, Montgomery Men's Health is reinventing men's health care here in the River Region. Again, low T problems, maybe you got a slow metabolism, maybe prostate or other issues that are more sensitive, like those issues that might crop up there in the bedroom. Check out Montgomery Men's Health today. That's 440-3663, 440-3663. Or you can always go to montgomerymenshealth.com and be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views. That Joey guy on the radio sent me. That's what you should tell them. More news and views after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Love is in the air and on the boat. The Harriet 2 riverboat, that is. Bring your special someone for a romantic evening and experience the elegance of cruising the Alabama River. Enjoy a delicious dinner while taking in the stunning sights. Dance the night away to the tunes that touch your soul, or just sit back and relax. Roses and champagne complete your lover's evening. You have 4 nights to choose from, February 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th. Book your Valentine's cruise at funinmontgomery.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. Final shopping minutes of News and Views. And on the phone we have Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. How you doing today, Ray?
Yeah, I survived the storms last night. How about you guys?
Yeah, I survived all right. I mean, it was downpour. There's a little even flooding in my neighborhood.
All over Prattville, too. Our church got hit really hard. The gutters didn't hold, and all the water came back in the building. Now, that's a major disaster. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. We'll get it handled. That's why we have Alpha Insurance, because they were Johnny on the spot to get over there and take care of it.
Well, there you go. And did the store do all right through all that?
Oh, yeah, the store. You know what? We have the privilege of owning the oldest store building, like the oldest building on Cosford Road. We've been through 2 tornadoes, all kinds of stuff, but it just keeps on clicking right along.
All right, then.
We lost the mailbox one time. Yeah. From the tornado one time, came along, took the mailbox and left the store alone.
Wait, how old is that building?
You know what? I think they put this building up when I was like 10. I'm 51, so about 41 years old.
Man, y'all truly are blessed. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. I didn't know that about
They don't build it like this anymore.
But
and if a tornado ever takes it down, I'll have it back up the next day, because actually you can't be this close to the road anymore, to Cosford Road. If you ever come by and you notice how our building's super close to the road, everything's way back.
Right.
That's because everything's changed. Yeah, it's amazing how this building's just gone along with time. It used to be cornfields.
Keeps on trucking. And y'all keep providing the same great service, same great product there, Prattville Carpet. You still doing that thing where you'll drive and go measure somebody's resurface area, and then you'll do that for free, right?
Absolutely. If they'll give us a call, 285-8117, we will come to you free of charge, give you those measurements. If you did have water come in the house today or last night, call us. We'll come out, start looking at what we got to do to get it fixed, just like we're doing with the church. And next thing you know, you got to do the floor down. Just that simple.
Again, that number for Prattville Carpet, 285-8117. And when you call 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with Joey. Appreciate you, Ray.
Guys, have a great day.
You too. Well, we got about 4 minutes left. And honestly, I'm tired. I'm kind of spent. Oh, I know what we can talk about. What the heck is going on with the tunnels? Like, this is broken social media. I thought Cat Williams was a big deal. Inside the mysterious 50-foot-long tunnel under the Brooklyn synagogue that sparked a riot. Yeah, apparently, and the videos online are amazing. like all these, I guess, what is it, Hasidic Jews, like they're throwing a bunch of stuff around the synagogue and they're trying to clog up these tunnels. And now the New York Post has an inside look of this tunnel that was dug, I guess, in the last 6 months. Like, I'm not sure, like, this is absolutely crazy, folks. Look at this. Like, this is that took a lot of work. Like, why? Designed to reach and abandon women's ritual bath, apparently. After neighbors complained about suspicious noises, the tunnel was discovered. The synagogue leadership gave in, but when they tried to show up to clog up the tunnel, there was like a huge riot, and like 12 young men were arrested. If you haven't seen this, folks, it's a heck of a thing. You're like, why were y'all digging that tunnel underneath there? Actually, couldn't it be, a problem for, like, say, structural integrity going forward for the synagogue or any surrounding building? I still don't know what the heck was going on there. Like, why did y'all do that? I'm not really sure at all. But, yeah, I guess another mystery that's popped up in the news cycle. But as you watch this video, folks, it leads viewers downstairs and through hallways to a dirt-filled room where roughly a 2 by 2 foot grate has been removed from the wall of the building. Then you can crawl through the hole, which leads to a 3-foot high dirt tunnel that reportedly extends about 50 feet and around 2 corners to the headquarters location of its shuttered ritual bath. Huh. Well, you never know what's going to go viral. You never know what's going to break. You know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. Stick a fork in me. Happy Hour with Greg Budell and Rosie. Well, they're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Coosa.